the sheriff.
He was
He went with the
auditioning,
girl.
and I know he was nervous, but I think he's going to be great.
Wake County Sheriff's Deputy, been on the
Yes.
force 5 years.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I can't I got a good
Oh, I
story
watched
for y'all.
him last night, and
I didn't watch it last night. I was dealing with Wacky with Mama.
I watched it up to the very last person who was supposed to have had a 4-chair turn and fell asleep.
They always carry the keep that
best
for the
one
last
for
one.
last.
Yeah.
But he was not only good, I think he was pretty too.
Oh yeah, he was cute, man.
And he talked about being a law enforcement
did he?
officer.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like,
But
but
on WRAL's is where I just saw it at.
yeah, the judges, he didn't tell that to the judges. It was the
And
back,
they always do the
back
audition.
audition,
Yeah.
backroom audition. I'm
According to
like,
this article in WRL, they're saying that he sings to the deputies. whatever that means.
Yes. Yeah, I was tickled over that. Just like the passing of Roberta Flack, I didn't know like she died so many times in North Carolina.
I neither. I saw she
Born
got
in Black Mountain, and she used to be a teacher.
She was born in
Farmville.
Black Mountain.
Yes, and she used to be a teacher in Farmville. We're
Roberta,
gonna get our daggone headphones.
Roberta Flack. I
What's
did
wrong?
not know
Oh, you
that.
want to talk to us, hear each other this morning? Oh my, how about that? All right, we're going to be testing here. And the mics are definitely hot. Good morning, I'm Ray.
I'm Kelly Knapp. I'm Lee Barrows.
And welcome to the today's Tuesday edition. Tomorrow's Tuesday edition will be Wednesday of Live and Local Real Talk. We appreciate y'all joining us this morning. And the ladies are getting their stuff together. They're oohing and eyeing over some deputy sheriff.
Oh, he was a
Who
good
is
little singer.
Pretty, and he
He
sings
was.
real good.
From Gardner, North Carolina, the home of Scotty McCreery.
And I'm not a country music fan, but he had a good little voice.
Oh, he did. I love country music, but he was
Uh-huh.
on The Voice last night and got voted through.
Well, good boy.
He got a 2-chair turnaround.
That's right.
Oh, good boy. I don't even know what that means.
2 of the 4 judges turned around
They
for
turn
him.
blindly. They just hear him singing or what they look like, don't know
Yeah.
anything. And if they like them,
Still don't know what that means.
it's a competition.
See, they do it. It's called The Voice. See, like this.
Y'all know Rayford just needs to get together, don't he, folks?
I don't need to get it together.
Then they turn around and they're competing. They're building their teams right now. It's the blind auditions. So
The judges don't get to see them as they perform, only
No.
until they hit their button to ask them to be on their team, and then their chair spins around. And it's funny because there was one guy on there singing last night. I swear, if you close your eyes, you would have thought it was a woman
I've seen
because
a couple of
his
those,
voice
yeah.
was so,
He was.
high. No, and when they turned around, the judges were like, just like unbelievable. Like, oh my gosh, this is coming from a guy, And then they've had celebrities actually come on the show.
Uh-huh.
And
don't like
they'll
it when they
start
do that.
singing, and the judges are, well, there's one that came on there and nobody turned around for him.
I don't like that. It makes me sad when they're good and they don't
That's
get
kind
turned
of like
around.
being out there
Now,
and
these are celebrities,
Oh,
well-known
on the
singers.
playground in elementary school when the 2 captains are choosing team members.
That's always
And
rough.
nobody ever chooses you, or you're the
Yeah.
last one.
I
thrown
know,
out.
that's just sad.
We're going to have to talk today after you do your thing about what you can do to get 20 years in prison.
Oh, well, that's
I got
easy.
a good story.
Well, I
Oh,
can
God.
tell you one thing: you can rape and murder a teenage girl here in Onslow County,
Mm-hmm.
and you sentence to 2 life sentences, and you get out in 20. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Let's talk about that
I don't know
one.
about that one.
This one's an interesting one, though. Yeah.
What's
So
on
you
the
do your
weather?
thing first.
What are bunches of little things here this morning? I don't think I do, but it's with the garbage is going on up there in the swamp, and the
Sheesh.
idiots that are to the left and to the right, to the north and to the south of the swamp. It's I just had this really strong desire to find out what the penalty is for just walking up and backhanding somebody, and how many people I would have to backhand to get a year in prison.
Can Kelly and I go with
Can
you?
we
Because
try?
we'll go with you.
We'll test it out. You want to test it?
Yeah, I just need to pick the right jail, someplace that,
Let's go.
will give me solitary confinement and a bunch of books to
I
read for a
can
year.
understand.
That's all I want, and food.
Yeah.
I want food. I don't want computer. I don't want law books. I got all of that mess.
Well, you get a tablet in jail.
I don't want a tablet.
Oh, okay.
I can
I
certainly
don't have a tablet now.
understand.
Well, I do have one that's somewhere
Yeah.
under this pile of stuff.
Yeah.
I can certainly understand feeling that way.
But anyway, that's
So
neither
we
here
need
nor
to
there.
see how we can, how
We'll
many times we can
slap
slap
somebody.
around.
Well, it
Well,
depends on
it's-
what state you live
It's a
in.
misdemeanor in North Carolina. It's a misdemeanor, and it's
Okay.
6 months or up to 6 months in prison, probably. Typically, is what
Would they
it's gonna
send
be.
you to prison for 6 months or just keep you in the county jail for 6
Well,
months?
it depends.
Just the
maybe they-
county jail.
I
I
think I just call the sheriff over here and see if he can't get me a room for a while. Hey, sheriff, I need a room for a while. What do you think?
I need a suite.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But we've got one guy that might be up there. 25-year-old man that Onslow deputies say stole a gun from a Jacksonville pawn shop, then led the deputies on a high-speed chase last week, has officially been charged.
Good.
Raymond Novak was apprehended after he crashed his car last Thursday. What do you think is going to happen when you're running from the law and you've stolen a gun? Do you think they're going to back off? Duh. He was jailed in lieu of $32,000 bond on a variety of charges, including, I may need to take a breath here, larceny of a gun, possession of a stolen gun, driving while license revoked with limited driving privileges,
Oh,
fleeing or eluding arrests with a motor vehicle, speeding, fictitious, get this one now, any registration on his car, and he also charged with reckless driving, and don't forget, weaving from lane to lane as he reached 110 miles per hour. Charges are pending for the narcotics that they found in the car, too, along with federal charges with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives for the gun. This dude might get wrapped up. He's 25.
Mm.
Now, you want to know what
Well,
what
there
kind
was
of
a
time?
juvenile with him.
Yep, 17 years old.
Yeah.
He's not a juvenile, but he's,
Well-
in my book, he's not. But
I agree.
by the law these days, he is. So they'll have to deal with him. So anyway, it's all fun and games until Mama takes T-Bird away. Jacksonville police still working on a cold case murder investigation. It's been 4 years, and Jacksonville police are still searching for information in the death of Jenna Franks.
Mm-hmm.
She was found murdered February 24th, 2021. Anniversary of her death was yesterday. Frank's body was found in a wooded area near Ellis Boulevard and White Street by a City of Jacksonville Streets Division crew. They were in the process of clearing debris from a draining ditch in that area. The police department's being assisted by the FBI offices in Wilmington and Charlotte. A reward of up to $15,000 is being offered in this case for information related to an arrest. Anyone, y'all, somebody out there's got some information on Jenna Franks. You can Google her name and do some more if you want to. And you can contact, if you knew her, if you were out and about at that point in time, you saw something strange. It's been 4 years now, 4 years or 5 years. It's been 4 years since the body was found, 2021. February 24th, it's this time of year, yesterday. Put your thinking caps on. If you thought back then that, well, maybe I knew something and maybe I should have called and maybe they would have arrested somebody by now, well, they haven't. They need you. Detective Scott Eichelberger is a Jacksonville PD. You can call their main number or you can call his direct number at 910-938-6440. You can call the FBI office in Charlotte at 704-672-6100. Or, my favorite, call Crime Stoppers right here in Onslow County, 910-938-8273. I'll give you that number again in just a second. This offers cash rewards of up to $5,000. Don't forget there's a $1,000 reward on this one for information determined to be of value to law enforcement. Callers to Crime Stoppers are not required to tell who you are. You won't be asked. If you want to and you want to be a witness, go for it. But you don't have to. If you've got a tidbit of information on your neighbor that you overheard at the bar talking about this, drop a dime on them. Okay? you can get some money back. Callers to Crime Stoppers are not required to identify themselves. Information can also be anonymously texted. Y'all who love to do the texting thing, via text a tip by typing tip,
Say.
I have a
TIP, the
theory.
number 4, the letters CSJAX, tip, TIP, the number 4, CSJAX, and your message, crimes. Just type in the word crimes, 274637. You can figure that out. And if you want to get real specific about it, make sure you get credit and all that. You can put the case number in there if you want to, but you're not required to. It was very early in the year, so it was only case number 540 on that particular
Wasn't
case.
Kelly?
Yes.
Wasn't that a?
Jenna Franks was a guy.
Thank
And
you.
he
That's
was-
what I was trying to
and
find the
he,
words for
we
We
without
know
being
what
offensive.
happened. We know why
Yes,
it happened,
yeah.
but we need to know who
Who
done
did it? Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
a human being that was
Yeah.
murdered.
Yes.
I agree.
Well, I agree
And
too.
I think this is just my theory, and it's only a theory. The person may not have known they were a male, and when they found out, they got mad
Yeah,
and
Yes.
raged out,
not the
which is
first
not.
time it's happened.
Oh, absolutely not.
It happened in Wilmington a
Yeah.
lot back
That's
in
what I
the
was
80s.
gonna say.
And that's what I think. I think not. I'm not dismissing the crime. I mean, somebody needs to be arrested.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Somebody
For
needs to
It's
be
a human
accountable.
being.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Correct.
there.
Not doing no harm.
Nobody.
I remember when it
You
first came out.
don't. You
and
don't like it. Move on.
There
Yeah.
was talk about it actually being a male.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I remember
Jenna
that.
was a man.
But,
But
yeah,
he-
no, I agree. Whoever it needs to be held accountable.
I think they.
It was a human being.
Yep.
That's right.
I think somebody.
And whoever did
yeah.
this
It's
needs
wrong.
to pay the price.
I
Yeah.
agree
a
100%.
million%. Million
And if
percent.
you are a local, which I'm going to guess right now, it probably was not. Just going to guess.
I
But
agree
if you
with-
are a local
Mhm.
and you did it, it's time to go ahead and fess up. Okay, you need to come forward.
How could
If
you?
you know who did it, you've got all these numbers you can call. One being Crime Stoppers, 910-938-3273. You can give them as much information as you want, as long as you give them something. And particularly, if you can just pinpoint a name and tell them why you think that person, and then they'll take it from there. Trust me.
Right.
They'll be knocking
Right.
on the door saying, "Hey, can we have a chat with you? We've
I
got some
agree.
stuff."
I think it's.
And after 4 years,
very
somebody
sad.
might even just say, "Okay, I've been waiting for you all these years, been knowing it's going to happen." Yeah,
Just-
that's happened many times.
I mean, there's a
Okay.
family that wants closure.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on now.
We're Jacksonville. I want
Yeah.
closure. This needs to be solved.
Yeah.
That's right. I agree.
We
I
do.
agree. It was sad, and
Very
it was sad at the
story.
time
Not
that
bothering nobody.
they found the body,
Yeah.
and I think that
It's
it
on that
needs
bike
closure.
trail.
Yes.
By the bike trail.
Well, you know, you used to be able to access that road from Belfork, and they closed it off when they
Mhm.
built the bypass. So that area back there is kind of remote.
Mhm.
It's definitely a
I
reminder.
would never
Yes.
walk back there, but
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not using the bike trail. I mean, I know a lot of people do,
I have to have a bike
Good
to
for
use that,
you.
right?
but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. Well,
not-
people walk. I see them walking the
And that's
dog.
the walk trail.
I'm not taking a trail through the woods. No.
Maybe with my weapon.
Well,
Kelly's machete and my AK.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go for a walk.
you don't have an AK.
You don't know that.
I have an
don't.
AR.
Yeah, you don't have an AK.
You don't know that I don't.
I know a guy at ATF will tell you whether you should not have it or not.
You don't know whether right you do.
Pretty sure you don't have a $200 transfer stamp.
You don't know that I
That's
don't.
Give me a second. What was that first name again? L.
No.
Well, you also.
Cindy, CIN.
Yeah. You know that JPD has put out, I think it was JPD, put out we're looking for person, the man that
A boat.
went into Publix on a electric wheelchair and stole all that
I
food.
saw that.
How do you not know who this guy is?
Well,
Somebody has to. Yeah, it was on Facebook. Yeah.
I saw the
Yeah.
picture and I said, well, that's going to be easy.
Somebody's going to reckon. Yeah, in an electric wheelchair, an older man.
Really?
Do you
So-
notice, Kelly, it's like every other day the sheriff's office or the police department is putting out, who is this person? It's
Yeah.
always Lowe's
Yeah.
or Walmart, and generally in the Yop area. But then I saw the guy on the electric scooter, and I'm like, how could you? Somebody will know
That's
him.
Bubba.
That's Bubba.
You know who that
Is
is?
there a reward on him?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. I mean, how do you not? They even got the guy's car. I mean, come on now. Somebody's going to know who this guy is. How do you wheel out of there with? See, I don't like a thief. Like,
You want to know what the reward is, Reverend? It's a dozen eggs.
look? That's like gold right
That's
there.
right.
Well, I'd have to
Shoot.
declare that on the income taxes.
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like I've seen this guy.
It's
That's the
not.
worst
He went
thing.
to Jared.
I
he
really
went
think
to-
I've seen this man. I
he
just
went to
don't
Food
know.
Island.
Yeah. I know who it looks like, but
Well-
he doesn't have a scooter.
I just feel like I know.
It's going to
this
be
person.
interesting. I saw the picture and I was like, "Oh, somebody
I'm
knows
going
this
to kill our
man."
mics for a second.
Yeah.
I would
Am
pay
I-
Crime Stoppers
Am I
money.
just about right on that one, Doug?
Oh,
You don't see him
Never
without a
thought
hat
about
very
that,
often.
Jesus.
wait a
But
minute. Let me see that again.
That's it.
I should know. Huh? We should know. All of us. Wait a minute.
he doesn't drive that vehicle, so
Well,
Well,
it could be.
borrowed
It
somebody's
could be
car.
a.
Shoot, if I was going to commit a crime, I'm not going to use my own car.
That's right.
what? Boo.
Oh.
I'm telling you that. Maybe that's why they look familiar to me because of what
That's
you
probably
said.
why he looks
Okay.
bad.
Oh.
It's not him, but,
yeah, no, it's a little too chunky to be him. But
I
that
just feel like I
was
know this
that was
person.
good.
Yeah.
I pay Crime Stoppers just go talk to him.
Oh, y'all are being vicious.
You're
now.
kidding.
Well,
Wow.
let me tell you what you need to
Okay,
do
tell me
in
what I gotta
Georgia to
In Georgia?
and to go to get 20 years in prison. You're
Well.
gonna- I don't know why we never heard this story to begin with.
Well, the biggest,
Okay.
the best defense for murdering somebody in Georgia is
Oh, this gets better.
he needed to kill him.
So this guy, his name is Stephen Stephen Glosser. He's 38. He's from Savannah.
Mhm.
You don't like this. He was sentenced to 240 months in federal prison.
Oh, my.
Let me tell you what this guy did.
Oh, do
Okay.
tell.
His plead, well, not everything he did, but he pled to stalking and use of an explosive to commit another felony. So let me tell you what this guy did. And he has to pay $500,000 in restitution. But
That-
if you're
that
in
won't
prison,
happen.
how's that going to happen? So anyway,
Mhm.
he had a co-defendant. March 2024, last year, him and another guy, built an explosive. They were on January 13th of 2023. They blew up this woman's house.
Oh, Lord.
Okay.
They didn't just build one. They
ATF even investigated. He met the woman through a dating app.
Oh, Lord.
special.
But-
Ladies,
Here we
take
go.
note.
They think there was more to just the dating. They think she may have been I don't know. The woman clearly had a little bit of money. You could tell by the house,
Uh-huh.
what's left of the house. So they actually blew the house up with the woman and some other people in it.
Oh, my.
Yes. Yeah, they survived. So in his guilty plea, he agreed to, and he admitted to planning to kill, intimidate, harass, or injure the owner of the home. That's a woman.
Attempted
Part
murder.
of his plan, now this gets where it gets wonky.
Conspiracy to commit murder.
Okay. They were going to acquire and shoot arrows into the front door. They were going to take a large python, release it into the home to eat her daughter.
How was the arrows in the, what's that?
I don't know. I'm just
Trying to
trying.
blame the Cherokee Indian tribe or something? What's going on?
And
That's why the feds were involved.
his plan was to take a giant python to eat her little daughter. They were going to acquire and mail dog poop to her, acquire and mail dead rats, scalp her, and blow the house up. Now they managed to blow the house up, like destroyed. Yes. So then, after the bombing, he actually hired a cleaning service to come to his house to get rid of all the traces of the bomb-making materials, which he did a fairly decent job. And the sheriff had a big old news conference at the time it happened. I'm like, he said it literally looked like a tornado ran through the house. I mean, they blew it up. They did a nice, decent job. I mean, the house is pretty. Well, not anymore. But it was it was a big house. But it did not say what they uncovered as to why he decided to, the snake thing got him. I don't know how they thought the python would actually eat her daughter. About that. What was his intent.
That was his desire to plead not guilty by reason of stupidity and insanity, Your Honor. Who would have even thought of something like that? I don't know. I'm not even crazy. I must have been crazy, Your Honor.
Yeah, I mean,
Seriously, it would have been
and
a
he
better
had an
plea.
accomplice, Rayford. That's even the accomplice hadn't even gone to jail yet. I mean, he fled and they arrested him. The accomplice hadn't had his trial yet, but I mean, and they're getting federal, which is a good thing, which means they're not going to get out early. So that's
Not very early. That's right.
Yeah. And the accomplice, I mean, how do you rope somebody into, but how do you think that the arrows in the door, I thought was a little odd.
A little odd.
I mean, just, the whole, I'm going to get a python to kill someone's kid.
So everybody lived.
Everyone lived. I mean, they lost their house, paralyzed. I mean, she's got a lot of stress, obviously.
So why was she on a dating app?
I guess she's trying to meet a man. I don't know. It didn't say. And they're saying the dating app was not the reason why they targeted her. I'm not sure.
I mean, did he hook up with her?
They had met apparently.
Okay.
And I think she thought.
No way. You like
there's
snakes and
something about
pythons,
this
right?
guy. And I don't know what her.
That's about the dumbest crook
I mean,
news
and
I've
then he
seen.
wanted to scalp her. Like, I don't know, like this dude. I mean, I'm laughing at the after he gets out of prison, and they said for which there is no parole. He has to do his 20 years. It just said it. After that, he has to do 3 years of supervised release.
Wow.
Just hope you don't get some Looney Tune liberal in the president's office
To pardon him. Oh, I just thought about that.
Think about that.
Rayford, yeah. It gets better. So the woman and her child had moved into that particular house a day before they blew it up. They knew she was moving. They'd been following her. That's where the stalking charge came in, apparently. So they planted the device that they didn't get it all the way in the house. They got it by the driveway, but it tore the house.
What
This bomb was.
What kind of background did they have to be able to make a bomb? Does it say?
I'm going to go redneck, but I mean, I know rednecks.
So,
Here are the two
then
dudes.
probably.
Yeah. When I'm starting,
I'm looking at the hair for one. Just
Yeah,
like it's
I
like
mean-
good God,
I mean-
alfalfa days.
yeah, I mean, just the other, I don't know. Watching a lot of YouTube videos, I have no idea because it didn't give any background on him.
Mhm.
And the scalping. But Lee, here's the how it was.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
He looks like a creep. He looks like
The other guy looks.
I wish I had never gotten involved
That's
with
what.
the other
This
guy.
is not a good. There's a better picture of the house, but that's. I mean, the house is flat out destroyed. Here's a better
well,
picture.
yeah.
I mean,
CBS News.
and he moved in like they knew what day she was moving in and put the bomb there. The day she moved in is when they did the bomb.
what's the name of this story?
Man pleaded guilty to
Okay.
bombing house, implying the python attack. All you got to put is man python attack, and it's going to pop up.
well.
But yeah, so that's how you get 20 years in prison, Ray,
And that's all.
in federal. You just got
And
to
that's all.
threaten to scalp. Yeah,
That's
right.
not
I'm
enough
gonna
time,
put
to
the
be
link
honest with you.
in
I
the
agree
chat.
with you, Rayford. I mean,
How many people were in the house at the time?
her 2 or 3, the
Cover-
woman, her child, and I
That would be
think somebody
attempted
else.
murder or conspiracy to
I
commit murder 3
agree.
times, 2 times, 3 times, whatever number of times. That in itself,
Mm-mm.
tried individually or at least sentenced individually. I wouldn't have settled for any kind of a plea on that dude because he could get out. And he's only going to be meaner when he gets out. You understand? Unfortunately, in federal prison, they will protect him
Mhm.
from the people that would do things to him that should be done to him. But that's just the way things work. Too bad. Sorry.
Talking about some recent news,
Mhm.
Rayford, you and I were talking about it this morning before we went on air about Clinton Hill, who was a
Yeah.
Secret Service agent that leapt onto the back
1963.
of the car that JFK was in when shot.
Yep.
And
He's also the one that made the arrangements to buy the casket that he was
Yes.
transported from Dallas to Washington in.
being curious, and I had a friend send me some news articles on Clinton Hill. So I went up on YouTube and watched every documentary I could find.
Mhm.
That man was so haunted by
Yep.
what happened. And for many, many years, he blamed himself for JFK being shot. He kept saying, if I was just like a fifth of a second faster,
Well,
I could have saved him. And he blamed himself for years over that.
Yeah.
It was a fascinating story. So if you're out there and you want more information on it, just go to YouTube and put in
and
Clinton
of
Hill.
course, they're what was the name of the In the Line of Duty?
Yes,
with,
with Clint Eastwood.
That
Oh,
was supposed
so
to be
good.
taken off on this particular story.
Yes, yes.
And he was supposed
But
to
he finally ended up retiring as a Secret Service agent at the age of 43. He sure had a lot to say about the Secret Service. But you could see the anguish and pain in him as Mike Wallace interviewed him in 1975 on CBS on 60 Minutes.
Well, I hope a friend of mine is listening, who is a retired Secret Service,
Yes.
who actually
yes.
went to school with, was in training classes with the guy who's now going to be the deputy director of the FBI. And I'm
Tim,
waiting to hear from Tim.
For him
I
to
hope
call
he,
in
I
about
hope he
that.
will reach out. He should be back off of his anniversary of his honeymoon. Let's just put it that way.
How nice. Congratulations.
Offshore and nearshore waters looking pretty good for at least a couple more days this week. Smooth seas, warm temperatures overhead. Water temperatures a little chilly. Is still in the surf, about 49.3 degrees in the surf there at Riceville Beach. I mean, it's cold, y'all. Northwesterly winds around 5 knots today, becoming westerly this afternoon. Seas only around 2 feet. That's great. Sounds and rivers flat. That's great. Northeasterly winds tomorrow up 10 to 15 knots. Becoming easterly 5 to 10 in the afternoon, seas 2 to 3 feet, sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. Thursday, southwesterly winds 15 to 20 with gusts up to 25 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet, sounds and rivers choppy. Today and tomorrow, you know what? If somebody's out there and they happen to find a bushel of oysters up there to stumps on, or preferably the topsail rock oysters, we haven't had the rain, so it's not going to be raw fresh water over the top of them to make them not taste so good. And the water temperature is nice and cold.
Well, I tell you,
you know where I am.
Y'all been late for
I've been
tomorrow.
saving a lot of money to buy eggs, and I'll be glad to give you some money for oysters.
Oysters probably be cheaper than the eggs.
Yes.
The way it goes out. Okay, on land, what's it going to be?
It's going to be mostly sunny today. A high of 71, guys.
Cannot believe
Yay.
it. And Raleigh, the same thing. It's going to be hot in Raleigh.
Tonight, clear, low of 38. Tomorrow gets even better.
Yep.
Sunny, high of 73. But tomorrow we can have a little bit of gusty winds with right around 15 mile an hour gusts. Tomorrow night, clear, low of 48. Oh my God. Thursday, best day yet. Thursday, mostly sunny, high of 76. Now, it'll be some 23 mile an hour gusts, but none of us care because it'll be 76.
That'll be cool.
We'll
I'm gonna
take
have to
that.
mow the weeds.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Sunday, it's going to drop down to 58. So enjoy it. Saturday's going to be 71. So it'll be our best weekend day, I guess.
Okay, tomorrow morning, you guys have heard, and we've had Mike Inero. He's now retired from
Yes.
the Jacksonville Police Department, as the chief, and he helped pick his replacement, in fact, and he's been still serving as the director of the public safety unit, which kind of oversees the police department and the fire department, a title that he had held even while he was the police chief.
Mhm.
So they've kind of separated those two for the time being. He's announced his plans to retire.
April.
Man deserves to retire
Oh,
while he's young enough to
absolutely.
enjoy life. So he's going to be joining us tomorrow morning.
I'm so
a
happy.
little
Be
after,
great.
about 8:20 in the morning. So
Yes.
y'all really should tune in tomorrow morning. This is one of those, you heard it here first. You might be able to go out and repeat for the rest of the day.
Oh.
Okay, just hang in there. We'll let you know.
Oh, did
So-
you tell us this
Nope.
already? No,
Nope.
you didn't.
Nope.
So it'll be a surprise for both.
A
of
watchdog
us.
group wants the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. The senator and climate hawk voted for key laws that provided funding for grants to the environmental nonprofit group that works with his wife, Sandra Whitehouse, and pays her through a consulting firm. Okay, I like environmental groups, okay? I like them. But when you're up there high in the Senate, and then your wife is at one time the president or director or whatever of this group, and
Conflict.
is still way up there, and you're directing lots of money over there, you're encouraging it, and as high up in the Senate as you are, you've got a lot of good friends that will help you out. So, Senator, White House, shame on you. The Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust, I love the way they do this, FACT, is asking the Senate Select Committee on Ethics to investigate White House, quote, to determine whether he violated the Senate ethics rules on conflicts of interest. Well, good possibility. The group works primarily to draw attention to potential Democratic lawmaker ethics violations. White House wife, Sandra, is employed as president of consulting firm Ocean Works LLC, and has been there since 2017 per her LinkedIn page. Before that, she was a direct employee of Ocean Conservancy, serving as senior policy advisor beginning in 2008. She'd been around for a while. Ocean Conservancy has received more than $14 million in my money and yours since 2008. During 2024 alone, last year it was given two sizable grants, one for $5 million from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for marine debris cleanup in September, and another $1.7 million from the Environmental Protection Agency, again to assist with marine debris cleanup. I got no problem with cleaning up our marine environment. They have organized divers. They've organized fishermen. They've paid rewards, which I agree with, don't have a problem with, for the most garbage brought in a day's time. They set up days. They have in the past. I haven't seen one in a number of years now where it needs to be done. You go out, divers go out, they go out and they locate trash. They bring it in from dive sites, because idiots who fish overhead and divers who just throw their debris overboard. If you can got a boat big enough to bring your crap out there, you got a boat big enough to take the remains back after you eat it or drink it, right? But no, throw it overboard. We don't want to go throw it in our dumpster. My God. But anyway, they used to pay for big, and I've seen boats come in up there in Beaufort. Little boats come in with these big, huge barrels, the barrel bags, the black ones, the black liners, full of trash and debris they found on the beaches, in the waterways. Just go along and scoop it up. I encourage all you guys who fish and dive, and anybody goes out in a boat, carry a net with you, carry some trash bags with you. So if you see some the tin cans, aluminum cans, the bottles, the plastic bottles, all that debris, pick it up and bring it ashore.
Always,
okay, just bring in more than you take out, and you're a good person.
Always. We're always
Now,
taught to pick up everything.
For the Watchdog Group, I'm glad that the Watchdog Group is keeping its eye on such situations, howsoevermore. The one glitch with this group is that it targets Democrat politicians. Why should they limit their efforts to one political party, whether it's a Democrat or Republican? If something stinks, I'm pretty sure that the smell isn't restricted to Democrats.
I agree with that.
Go for everybody.
I agree. I have no problem with that.
Be a fair weather. Hate them all. Get them. Hold them to task. Anyway, whatever.
Well, we had another
I know you're going
another
there.
plane incident in Atlanta,
Oh,
Delta.
we got one closer than that.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
The Delta one, I watched the videos. Hey, it was going to Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Haze, smoke, whatever word you want to use, filled the plane cabin. There's videos of it. So they had to turn around. They'd only been flying about 35 minutes and turn around, landing on the runway in back in Atlanta. They had to get off the plane going down the chutes. Then the airport had to send vehicles to come and get all the passengers off the
I
runway.
told you you're not supposed to smoke aboard these planes.
Somebody didn't get that memo, right?
Apparently.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it was pretty smoky
Where was,
on
the
there.
smoke, where was the smoke coming from?
they don't know. They haven't said.
That's a problem.
And two people, paramedics had to treat two people.
Anxiety.
I don't know. It did not say.
That would
I
be
would
me.
agree with you. Or maybe they have like big time asthma. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm gonna tell you, if somebody's actually done it, sliding down that chute
It ain't
off the
fun.
plane, it is not a fun experience. It is nerve wracking. I would say, but it is not
You didn't ask to
fun.
go back up and run it down again, did
I
you?
was holding the baby. Like, no, yeah, no, it was rough.
Did the baby go?
Megan didn't
all
bounce
the way
off. She
down?
was like looking all around. But yeah, it was baby Megan at the time. But
Mommy,
Yeah.
let's do it again.
but I
Do
mean,
it
that's
again. Do it again.
the whole shoot thing is it's not as easy as you think it is.
Mhm.
But it is nerving. But yeah, they had 94 passengers on this plane.
Oh, wow.
Everything
Yeah.
from the moment the smoke started to having to have emergency landing to having to exit through it by the chute.
Yeah,
All of that is so frightening.
it is frightening. Yeah, and so and they have Delta has not issued a statement as to what caused
Well,
this. This was yesterday
probably
morning.
still going
yeah.
through
Yeah,
it.
it was a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago. They had another airline.
had
It was
another-
something similar to
Delta
that.
was another Delta one.
Yes,
I just
wasn't
saw
it?
it.
They said some type of haze that had
It was
developed.
another Delta plane. Delta, look, that's who I normally fly. I'm gonna need you to get your life together and get these haze.
We'll
I
put
don't
you on
wanna be-
Spirit.
Oh, I definitely don't want to do that.
Well, if you get a little
Yeah.
spirit, don't hang around the waiting room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And in Atlanta,
Yeah.
anyway.
That's
That's what it had.
yeah, that's when it had the big old fight.
Brouhaha.
Yeah. So, and then yesterday, last night,
Yeah,
right
Over-
close to home.
just down the road a bit, or down the airways a bit. A helicopter,
Mhm.
one of those medical helicopters
Yeah.
that I cringe at.
Yes,
It had a crash landing.
it did.
3 crew members on board.
Correct. No
Nobody, no passengers on board.
medical
no-
people on there. Yeah.
No patients.
No patients.
I
Thank
don't
you.
know any other details except it crashed and there was a walkaway. They all were treated for minor injuries.
Yeah, they were treated at the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because it's a hard landing when you come
Mhm.
down, regardless
Yes,
of what it is.
yes.
Lucky folks. Helicopters generally, when they come down really hard,
Mhm.
and
Right.
it's you see these and hear these reports about just put the thing in auto rotate. That doesn't always work. And some
Correct.
planes, some helicopters, it doesn't work at all on.
and they were on Holly Shelter Road,
Uh-huh.
right at the New Hanover Pender County line.
Yeah,
is
that's
where it
right close. I was telling
Yeah.
Rayford this morning. It's right close to where my daughter
Yeah,
lives.
do
And-
not know what caused it, why
Mm-hmm.
they had to touch down. But it didn't just fall out of the sky, because if
No.
it falls out of the sky, it comes as a heap of metal.
Well,
and
we've
that's
had
it.
tragedies in the past,
We have.
not really that long ago, where we've had the medical helicopters actually crash and be loss of life. So,
Well, we had an
but-
airplane.
yeah, but we've
Up
also
in
had
Mexico.
in North Carolina some of the helicopter, the life.
There are a lot of helicopters, and I know that they serve a great purpose, a good purpose, and they're needed. We've used them, and even before we had them here, we had the luck of having the folks over at Camp Lejeune and New River Air
Mhm.
Station and at Cherry Point. If there was a critical transport that needed to be made from hospital to a hospital, they had a crew, not a problem. I don't know that flying a helicopter out to so many wreck scenes, like has been done,
Mhm.
or transporting each and every person, because it's an easy thing to do and because they're standing by waiting to do something. I don't know what the protocol is in determining when you call out a helicopter.
Mhm.
And I don't know how far it is from one location to another. To me, those things are, somebody probably needs to look at it. There's a lot of those things, they have to be maintained, and they're expensive to maintain. Ask any TV station that has owned one. They're expensive. You don't see any small TV stations owning them, do you?
Mm-mm.
No,
Big
they're-
ones, but not, I mean, big TV stations, but
my entire budget, the news budget at WECT over a year for all the salaries for 45 people would not pay for one helicopter. And the maintenance on a helicopter? No way. No, couldn't do it. My God, it's tough enough to get the car serviced.
Here's one. This is the one I remember so well. It was in 2017, and there was 4 killed. It was near Belvedere, North Carolina, and it was a Duke Life Flight helicopter.
Mhm. I remember.
Went down close to the Virginia border. I remember that one.
Mhm.
Phew.
I don't know, and maybe we can find some people out there that will come on here and explain the medical reasons for doing it. I understand because I was one of those people in November of 2022 who they forced to get aboard a medical transport helicopter because they could not find a ground unit that they said had life support on board.
Why not though? I mean, I thought that we do have some in the county that have the life support on them. We used to, didn't we?
Well, I stayed at the hospital for 2
Task.
hours after being transported there. 2 hours, and I'm trying to find a hospital, number one, that I could
Yeah.
that had a bed.
I know.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And how are you going to get there? Okay, well, it's 22 minutes away. It's, whatever it is, a
Hmm.
little longer than that driving time. Not far to Newbert.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I've driven it, ridden in a car that got there a whole lot faster than that.
Oh, you can get there
Yeah,
really
same.
fast now with the bypass.
Yeah, that bypass is awesome.
Yes,
But
it is.
I didn't want to fly in the helicopter. I've flown in a lot of helicopters. I don't want to fly in a helicopter anymore.
I think they
The
gave you
military
choice.
helicopters, I will tell you, because I've got a brother-in-law who flew for 28 years, or
Mhm.
20 some years, almost 28 years. And he didn't have any crack ups. He didn't have anything like that.
Right.
But of course, he was flying, much of his time was flying the best maintained helicopters in the Marine Corps, obviously, presidential choppers. But by the same token, they don't have one motor,
True. True.
as he put it.
Hmm.
It's kind of like me going out in a boat. I don't have one motor
Hmm.
going offshore. I got 2 motors. And I've had to use
Sure.
one of them to come home on many occasions.
Oh, we remember one not long ago.
But they're, I don't know how do you decide when it's more economical, efficient, in favor of the patient, which is what it should be every time, to fly than it is to drive?
Yeah.
What's the protocol there? And who makes the final call?
Well, that's like we were talking this morning about that. I mean, if they stabilized you and you were at the point where you could probably get up and walk out of the hospital
I
yourself,
could have.
why are they flying you?
No,
Unless they
I would have been stupid to walk out. I will tell you that.
Oh yes, but there's people who do, but
I think because of his blood pressure.
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
It was low.
It was very
Wasn't
low.
high,
but
David, it was very
but
low.
they had it up. It was 57
what
over 30.
exactly do
Yeah.
they need in an ambulance, in an EMS van
I don't know.
to sustain you?
Well, if you have a heart attack, they need a whole lot of stuff in a
That's
van.
true.
But I assume, I don't know what they've got in the standard unit today. We
Right.
do need to talk to somebody with EMS. I
That
want
would
to know
be
what they
good.
got in normal EMS units,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of, would you not think they've got a defibrillator?
I would think they
I mean, they
would.
got them in the shopping malls, on
Yeah.
the walls.
We've got them at schools,
And they got 'em
in
in
the
schools.
gym, so
They've
I
got,
don't know, it's a
there
good
are any number
question.
of
Maybe we
police
should
cars
tour
that-
one. We should go on a
Yes.
tour, get a tour.
let's go
and
down
just
to
find out what they
ERC.
have on board. And
Mhm.
gone are the days when the funeral homes
Mhm.
literally
Yes.
provided the ambulance service in an area.
That's true.
You know that?
Yeah.
That's the way it
Mhm.
was here. We had 2 ambulance services. It was the funeral homes,
Hmm.
Jones and Johnson. If you had a wreck, you called one or the other.
Hmm.
Then there was Jacksonville Rescue Squad,
Yes, they were
And-
all volunteer.
but they were all volunteers,
That's
and they
right.
went out for if there's something that needed to be extricated or there was an actual rescue thing, not just pick them up and put them on the stretcher and haul them away. Those are different stories. And then we progressed a lot from that. That was only,
Right.
40 years ago,
Right.
50 years ago. Oh,
Well, I can tell you, if I'm ever in the hospital, I'm in the emergency room, they think they need to evac me out. If it's that bad, I say, hey, get it ready, start it up. Just
Well,
make sure you dope me up enough. I can sleep through it.
And honestly, they can tell me more because they're smarter than I am, but I know that I was inside it. You know how much space there was between me and the little thing overhead?
None. Yeah. It's very claustrophobic.
And well, I'm not claustrophobic, of course, but I can see that where some people would have a problem with that.
Mhm.
But there's not a lot of room in there when you're flying around for the one person that's in the back of the unit that I was in.
That's why I say
The
just
one
knock me
person that
out.
was in the back of the unit with me, there's not a lot of room for him to do anything.
Yeah, knock me out. Just knock me out. When I wake up, I'll
You'd
be
have
in
to
the
land.
hospital.
Yeah.
Whew.
So the two people on board who were both are flight surgeon type people, flight nurses,
Right.
that they could work on you.
Well, I'm glad they were there for you, though.
Yes.
I'm glad they were too. I'm glad they were available for somebody who really needed them.
You don't think you needed it?
You
No, I
needed
don't.
it.
I needed
think
to be
you did.
transported, but you don't put me in a car. I'd have been there. I was at the hospital for 2 hours waiting for them to decide
But they're
what
not
to do.
going to take
Yeah.
that liability of releasing you to leave in a car and then you having a heart attack
Mhm.
between here and New Bern.
And what if you get, there's traffic? There's a
Kelly and
road
I would
closure.
sue just to get
Yeah.
the money.
Oh, yeah. We would. We would do that. We do that for you.
Well, I'm having anxiety just thinking about all of this 2.5 years ago. What can you do for me?
That's right.
Nothing.
Yes, we did. We did plenty.
People sue for all sorts of reasons. Kelly and I'll sue, and then we'll enjoy spending that money, won't we, Kelly?
We'll do it in your honor.
That's right. Reaper's like, thanks.
Looks like one Democrat state does not like the idea of illegals who commit crimes in the United States being protected by any government agency. What a big change this is.
Who was it?
A Brazilian illegal alien who was charged with rape and was caught in Massachusetts, then handed over to ICE.
Nice.
That's not something you see every day. Police apprehended 21-year-old William Robert dos Santos in Falmouth. Is that really
It's
the word?
Falmouth.
I like Falmouth.
No, it's
That's what
Falmouth.
it is.
I'm with
F-A-L-M-O-U-T-H.
It's called Falmouth. Pray for me.
I'm with
Massachusetts
Baker.
actually was charged with rape.
Mhm.
I've been in Massachusetts. I know that Falmouth, some of them. Was charged with raping a Massachusetts resident last month. He was originally arrested, then released in April last year when he illegally entered this country across the southern border. Now, go forth, young man. And by the way, you need to come to court on this date. Show up for this hearing. And somebody,
That's
I want to
laughable.
meet the person that really, honestly expected him to show up. I want to talk to that person.
Mhm. I agree with you. I'm with you.
It's
on that.
probably Miss America hoping for world peace.
Maybe.
After he was arrested for rape in Massachusetts, he was turned over the very next day to ICE. They did not wait. ICE had a hold on him. They requested him be turned over, and they done it. Massachusetts Governor Mara Haley said and back in November that her state police will absolutely not be cooperating with President Trump's mass deportation efforts, warning that she will use every tool in the toolbox. That's her words, to protect residents in the blue state.
But he's not a resident.
And the
This is
resident
what
that
I'm
was in the
saying.
blue state was raped.
Yeah, your resident got raped by this scum.
But last month, she changed her tune, noting that her state is not really a sanctuary state, despite a 2017 ruling by
Well,
the
they-
state Supreme Judicial
Correct.
Court that severely limits law enforcement cooperation with ICE.
Mhm.
This country might get back on the right track sooner or later. What's disgusting right now is the number of people who have been raped, Americans, raped and murdered by illegals while so-called sanctuary cities and states did everything they could to keep those criminals away from federal agents. I wonder if those politicians and do-gooders across this nation who still protect illegals really think that lawbreakers will change their spots. If you do, why don't you take a look at the recidivism rate in any prison or any jail and ask them, what does frequent flyer mean? At what price are they willing to continue this ridiculous social experiment? And that's all it is. How many more Americans need to be raped or killed before the woke idiots wake the hell up?
Good
That's my
question.
question for you
Good
today.
Well,
question.
that's what I don't understand. Like even Chicago uses that word resident, and so does Massachusetts. These people are not. They're not your citizens because they're not citizens. Because Chicago's mayor threw that word citizen around a lot. We protect our citizens.
No,
Clearly, you don't.
No, you don't even
Because
protect
you're
the
letting
ones
this
on the south side.
dirtbag scum come in and kill and rape and injure and rob, but they aren't citizens. That's what I just can't fathom their logic.
These people come in and they take away my rights. What are you doing about it? That's all I want to know. What are you doing about protecting my rights, y'all?
Yeah,
Anything?
the 12-year-old girl in Texas,
Oh.
she was a citizen.
Yes.
The two scum of the earth that raped and threw her body like trash in that water, they were not citizens.
Look what Lake and Raleigh. Now I watched that trial. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
what. I wanted to crawl into that
I
TV
watched
and
the trial. It was
just
terrible. Yeah.
beat that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to
But
beat
this-
him.
for these cities and these mayors and whoever to use the word, we protect our citizens. No, you don't.
No, you have
You
not
do
protected
not.
anybody.
You protected your twisted ideology, but you're not protecting the citizens because these people that cross our border illegally are not citizens.
You know,
Period.
our Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, he's ticked off a lot of people. Good.
Yeah.
Finally. There's a Boston City Councilwoman.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
She made fun of Homan.
She
Is it
did.
Homan or Homan?
Holman, I think.
That's what I think.
Coleman,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's Holman.
She made fun of his employment history.
Mhm.
She accused him of spending his entire career policing a town. Her words, policing a town smaller than a Fenway Park crowd.
Mhm.
Well, guess what she found out? He was a cop there, yeah. But then where did he go after that? Yeah, she said, now I understand that Tom Homan spent his career as a federal agent within Border Patrol and ICE.
Mhm.
But that's a world away from the realities of policing a major city. Yes, it is.
Mhm.
But if we could stop them back there where we should have stopped them before,
Well, who is she?
she's a Boston City Councilwoman.
No, I mean
Sharon
that's me being
Durkin. She's a
sarcastic.
nothing.
What has she done?
She's got a career as a
Oh,
Boston
she
City
graduated
Councilwoman.
from Smith College. Oh, that says a lot right there.
And so what? I don't care. She graduated from
No,
nowhere.
it just says
Nowhere.
a lot.
I don't care.
Speaks
She's a Yale
volumes.
graduate and a lawyer for the last 15 years. This dude has been on the front lines.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, I mean he's front line. Border Patrol.
Yes.
Border Patrol is not an easy job.
I would hate to have him as a daddy. I told you to clean that room.
Well,
Woof.
And I like what he said when he gave that speech last week.
oh, he got vocal.
He
last
said, "I'm
week.
coming,
Oh, yes.
Boston. 9 child rapists that were in jail, and you released them
Yep.
on the street. These are child rapists,
Yep.
folks. These are scum of the earth that are raping children. Period. And all these Democrats think it's just good to just let them go till they rape your kid.
Yep.
Then what?
Yeah.
Then you're going to scream at the government.
Wonder
You didn't do
how
your
they-
job.
You didn't
called
do
the police.
nothing.
Why didn't you do this?
Mhm.
Why haven't you done something? Oh
Mhm.
my God! How many
Yep.
times have you heard that?
Yep. I just can't.
Well, twerps like that just.
Seriously, where you want to get mad over something? Did you see the little spar between President Trump and Maine's Governor Janet Mills? It was at a White House event several
I
times.
saw it. I was like, oh my.
And he's talking about not the ban on having transgenders playing on girls sports team.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he goes, wait a minute. He said, I understand that the Maine governor is against our policy and wants to allow it. He goes, is the Maine governor here?
Yeah.
She was
He goes,
there.
there you are. And she got quippy with him, and he said, I'm going to cut off your federal funding.
He
How
sure
about
did.
that? And boy, they were going, and I was like, holy moly.
And I,
I mean-
thought, first of all, how stupid are you?
First of all,
In
I wouldn't have
public.
sat up front.
No, I
would've sat
I
way in
never
the
sit
back.
up front at things. I try not to in general. For a bunch of reasons. If you got to go to the bathroom, you got to walk by all the people. Like, no.
Well,
but,
no, knowing
I know
that
where
I
she's
was
going.
but then going with her the fact that this woman actually snipped back at him in a crowded room on TV.
That
I'm
was
like,
his
lady,
room.
that's
Trump-
the president.
Trump
Even if,
asked her if she was going to comply with state and federal law. And she was going to comply with the order. And she goes, I will comply with state and federal law. And he looked at her and he said, well, we are the federal law.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding.
And he
If you
also
don't.
told her she wouldn't get reelected.
Oh, I'm sure that's
Yeah.
went over.
Yeah, I mean,
Or she told him, she said, see you in court.
yep.
And
I
he
mean-
said, good, I'll see you in court. I mean, all this
I'm
added
thinking,
at
lady,
luncheon.
what is wrong? Because once again, in my opinion, a lot of them have been allowed to get away with this so long. They now
Yes.
think they're untouchable.
Kowtowing to their constituents,
Yes.
they think. To a very limited number of their
Because their
constituents.
constituents voted to put Trump in office.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. But this is
Because I don't think you'll ever be one again.
I was hollering. I'm like, dude.
It was like,
And take it from him.
Man.
He knows what you do when you don't do it right. What
But
happens
you
to
could,
you?
I've read other accounts. They said you could feel the tension in the room.
Well, that's what I'm
it was
saying,
very
Kelly.
uncomfortable. for
if you
people.
knew you were against the president's policy and you were at strifes with him, would you be sitting up front? I'd be
No.
sitting way in the back
I'd
room
be
and
sitting
hoping
back-
he didn't see me.
But not only that, I would not. It's well known I didn't like Biden. Just everybody knows it. If you don't, I don't. You just, I don't know how you couldn't. But I would never, because I have respect for the office, would never be hollering and snipping at even at Biden in a room
Well, first
at a
of all,
dinner.
you're
At a, I just
outnumbered,
wouldn't do it.
dummy. You're
I
outnumbered
just would
10 to
not do
1
it.
at
Like,
least.
What is this?
Nobody's going to respect you.
No. But this is somebody that thinks they can do whatever they want. But they're about to FAFO, I'm telling you. So I'm gonna get a
I'm
shirt
just-
that says
it's
that.
just like the mayor in Los Angeles.
She fired that police chief.
She did.
I was like, wait, what?
It was the fire department chief.
I mean, the fire department. I'm sorry, the fire. Yes.
Because the fire chief came out and spoke right out, and this was prior to getting fired, of
Mhm.
course, saying like the city let us down.
Yeah.
We get there, and I'm standing there, and I've got firemen who are standing there with hoses with no water because there
Okay.
is no water.
But,
Whoops.
and I agree with that. But however, let me say this. There's no way you can possibly convince me that you didn't know prior to this fire that there's a lot of things you didn't have.
As far as the mayor, yes, because that fire chief even came out and said we have been to
No, I mean,
them several times
But-
and told them this is what we would
but
need.
if I were the fire chief, knowing I didn't have hoses or I couldn't get water or whatever, because clearly I know they do inspections. If you don't think I would have acted a fool publicly to get my stuff, I would have brought attention to it, but she didn't.
Well, supposedly she did.
Okay. Well, I hope
Yeah.
she did.
Supposedly they did a big presentation and she said nothing got done, and that was the start of her
Odds against.
to getting fired. And
How did this mayor get elected? Because I don't like her at all.
D.
did you
Yeah.
see her try to take issue with Trump when Trump went to
Yes.
visit?
He
I'm like, girl,
shut
you
her
need to
down
shut
too.
up.
I'm like, once again,
You know,
someone that thinks that they can just say whatever because they've been allowed to. That's the problem. They've been
Yes.
allowed to.
yes.
Okay. City mayor versus president of the United States. Would you not have thought you just need to sit there and be quiet? And then what concerns you have, take it to him a different way other than sitting there and, national TV is filming you and to more or less, tell the president, no. Like,
Well, even Gavin Newsom, as squirrely as he is,
yes.
he knew enough, had enough, I guess, sense would be the word I would use, to kind of back off when he met with Trump. And that was, right after that. And they were meeting. I mean,
You talk about kissing the
he
ring.
did, Lord.
As soon as Trump stepped off of Air
he
Force
was
One,
right there. I'm like,
Gavin Newsom
wow.
was like
Yeah.
hugging him. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
And Trump kind of looking at him like, are you serious right now? But I mean, Trump handled it well. But I mean, Gavin Newsom, he had enough sense. I think he had enough decorum to know,
yes.
I might not like you, Trump, but I'm not
Right.
going to make myself look a fool.
And that's the word, Kelly, decorum,
Yeah.
I mean, respect too.
You respect the office.
You respect the position.
Correct.
You may not agree with anything,
No.
but you respect it. But see, what happened was California fell into We need help. And it's beyond us to be able to provide it. We need help. And so Gavin Newsom had to grovel. And I will say, though, that he did the right thing when Trump stepped off that plane. He did the right thing. And sometimes you have to swallow your pride and do that.
And he hung back at something
Yes.
that people expected him to be at, and he didn't.
Yes. And he
Because
did. You're right.
I think he was trying at that point not to make it about him,
That's right.
which yay on you for that.
I had to give
Yeah.
him kudos.
And I don't like that guy, as y'all know,
I
at all.
have to give him kudos for
I do
that
not
day.
like Gavin Newsom.
Oh, not at
was
all.
Like,
I
No,
mean, he
no.
is.
Oh, yeah, we've
I
talked
think
about
he
him
is
on
scum of the
other-
earth.
He's two-faced.
Yeah.
well, I think his
Yeah.
political career is about done.
He
I
wants
hope
to run
so.
for president.
I think it's about done.
Well, that's probably who the Democrats are going to try to run in 2020.
And talk about
Mhm.
Vic. He's going to be running for Ohio governor. He's thrown his hat in the ring.
Who is?
Vic Ramaswamy.
Oh, Ramaswamy?
yeah. He has
Saw
thrown
that.
his hat into the ring, and he's got Trump's endorsement.
I wonder if how well he'll do.
I
Well,
don't
he's,
know. I've got
he's-
to research Ohio and see what it looks like.
You know who his publicity campaign person is going to be, don't you? Joy Reid. She needs a job.
Well, Lester Hoyt he has put in his
Because
resignation.
he's going to focus only on Dateline.
yeah,
I read that. Yeah.
but he was a news anchor.
Yeah, Lord. Well, he was
I
put into
always-
that position. He's a good guy.
Hey, I like
But
him.
he was,
I do
he
like
played
Lester
second
Holt.
fiddle to Williams, Brian Williams.
Brian Williams,
Yes.
yeah.
And Brian Williams stepped in it.
Yeah, he did.
And NBC had no choice but to demote him, and they
Mhm.
did.
I've always
And they've been,
liked.
and they've been,
I
Lester.
like Lester Holt.
and they've been waiting to put him back in first place. So I don't
Right.
know what's going to occur, but I don't know. That fallout with Brian Williams was horrific.
Oh,
It was
well,
bad,
that's
yeah.
where he was shown lying or
Yeah.
giving false information.
Yeah, he knew
Oh, that was
better.
bad. That
And
was
And
bad.
Lester Holt.
And I liked him.
Oh, I did too.
Oh, I
Brian
did too,
Williams
until
was
he
a nice
did
guy. He
that.
was a
I mean-
credible individual until he
Yes,
did
that
that.
hurt him.
Then his credibility is when
Yes.
you're a journalist and you
Yeah.
lose all credibility. When you lose any,
It's-
you're as bad as a cop lying on the witness stand.
I agree with that.
Because once you do it, you're done.
Yep.
You go. It's hard to recover from it.
Lester is flat out going
was-
to focus on Dateline. He's the Dateline host.
Yes.
I like Dateline. It's a decent show.
I like Lester Holt. I've
I
always
do. I've always
respected
liked
him.
Lester Holt.
And even during all the political garbage, he
But he's fair. Like
Yes.
he I don't know what his. I honestly can't. You know, some of them
He
you can
doesn't
tell
come
what
out
their
with
views
opinions.
are.
That's
No.
right.
He presents the
you
facts.
just
Just the
don't
facts,
know.
ma'am. Just
Yes,
the facts.
and I like him.
Yeah.
talking about
place.
talking about all that mess. Our boy Madison Coughlin is in trouble again. The FEC has fined him over $17,000 for late reporting on his campaign finance when he
He's
was
such
really-
an embarrassment.
Yeah.
I
Do we
just
think
can't.
he's going to pay it?
No,
No. It's due by March 22nd.
he is not going to. Just how embarrassing.
May as well try to get it out of me.
Oh my gosh.
I
You
just
know what
can't.
was started off as a promising young man
Mm-mm.
in politics? Boy, he went to doo-doo in a heartbeat.
Very badly.
Very
Yeah.
badly. I mean, the last big story on him was that car accident in Florida where he ended up hitting a highway patrolman. You know, so I mean,
Well, did you see what happened
kind
yesterday
of sad.
in California? You know, they're protesting ICE.
Yeah.
Okay. Last night, that one group came out and issued phone numbers, addresses
Yes.
of the agents.
That will get you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Like, why would you do that?
Hateful people.
Mhm.
There was here in North Carolina, there was a group. There's an anti-gunners. They probably came in from somewhere else. But when we first got the concealed carry permits,
Mhm.
did you know that everybody with a concealed carry permit had to be listed publicly? And there was a listing at the sheriff's office.
Why? I don't
With
want my
every-
stuff
with-
out
No,
there.
nobody wants their stuff out
that was
there.
that was part of the law. That was how they got it passed. We will let everybody know who wants to know who everybody who has a gun is,
Mhm.
who everybody has a concealed
Hmm.
carry permit is. Well, it was challenged. It took a couple of years, but I went down to the sheriff's office in New Hanover County, and there was a big old thick book there. I mean, we're talking about probably 6 inches thick. Looking through there, I said, there's nobody in New Hanover County that does not have a concealed carry permit. Judges, lawyers,
Mhm.
everybody was getting a good gun permit. this group decided, well, you know what? It's public information. So they put it out there for the public to see on Facebook. Everybody in North Carolina that had a concealed carry permit at that time, they started listing them.
Wow.
Now, how well do you think that will go over?
Why does a judge have to have a permit
Mm-hmm.
if he's carrying it in the scope of his duties?
Well, you know, he leaves the courthouse from time to time, and he goes
So
out
does
to
a
eat,
deputy.
and he goes out to eat at
But
dinner.
a deputy
but
on there has.
they have arrest
certified.
powers and stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah.
But you would think that a judge, someone in that
Before the
position,
days of concealed carry, Judge Charles Rice,
carried a shotgun.
Chief District Court Judge in
Yes.
New Hanover County, he had one under his robe every day. He and I used to go out and shoot. He was a 45 fanatic, and he loved me because I love 45s.
We had a judge that was shot and killed in Kentucky not long ago
We did.
by the sheriff
Yeah,
himself.
the sheriff got mad.
That's
at the
going to
judge.
be an I can't wait for that court TV.
Oh, there's going to be some guilty.
Ooh,
There will be some
there's-
plea dealing
well-
going on somewhere.
There's a lot of
And speaking of dealings
Stuff.
in court, Brian Kohlberger.
Oh, don't start
he
with
just
this idiot.
I watch his stuff.
He's added one of his own defense expert witnesses to his legal team. A defense witness to his legal team. Of course, he's the guy facing charges that could give him the death sentence. That's which it should, if he's guilty. Whoever
Right.
did this should be executed.
Mhm.
The home invasion murders of 4 University of Idaho students back in
Vicious.
2022.
Vicious.
And we haven't been to trial yet, and this is 2025.
It'll take a while.
San Francisco attorney Becca Barlow, who's an expert on DNA forensics, and testified for Kohlberger's defense during the August 2023 hearing, has been admitted pro hac vice, whatever that is in this case, meaning the judge gave her permission to represent Kohlberger alongside his other lawyers, even though her license is in California. Okay.
What?
She's a licensed to practice law in California, but she was an expert witness in Idaho. And then now the judge has said she can sit on the bench or sit at the table with his other defense attorneys. Okay.
But she can't.
She can act as a lawyer.
Well, in pro hac vice, in the legal field in the United States, pro hac vice is a practice in common law jurisdictions whereby a lawyer who has not been admitted to practice in certain jurisdiction is allowed to participate. Explain that.
Okay. Well, it is. Just didn't take the bar exam in Idaho.
Yeah, but what makes her legal to be able to practice in Idaho? I guess she's not practicing. She's actually just
assisting in the
team.
defense, yes, which is practicing. She earned a bachelor's degree in genetics from the University of California, Berkeley, before getting a master's from Cornell. According to her website, she then went to the University of San Francisco School of Law.
Mhm.
She began her career as a researching attorney in the criminal division of the San Francisco Superior Court, eventually founded a private practice dedicated to cases involving DNA. She claims to have led the first successful challenge in an American court to the admissibility of short Tatum repeat DNA evidence. Don't even ask me. One of the most common methods of DNA analysis. She also has experience with DNA and YSTR, which is STR testing specific to the Y chromosome. Who cares? Technically, they do. I don't. A deputy, Jay Logston, a deputy to lead defense attorney Ann Taylor, will remain on the team as a consultant, but will not represent the 30-year-old Kohlberger at trial. That's according to an order from the ADA County Judge Stephen Hippler. DNA evidence has been central to identifying Kohlberger as the suspect in the murders of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Goncalves, Zana Coronado, and Ethan Chapin. Police recovered a knife sheath from under Mogan's remains with DNA on the strap from under one of the victims. DNA was on the strap of a knife sheath under her body. During a closed-door proceeding that was unsealed this week, Moscow detective Brett Payne, the lead investigator, testified that Kohlberger's name had not been known to him prior to December 19th, when the FBI offered it up as a tip after a genetic genealogy investigation. So they didn't even have this dude on the radar
Right.
until the feds said, okay, there's a match here with this DNA that you found at the crime scene to this other dude. The FBI's use of genealogy databases violated an internal policy. Defense witness Dr. Leah Larkin testified at the same hearing. Investigators used at least 2 databases that were not supposed to be accessed by law enforcement. See, y'all, now they did this. You put your DNA out there. You want to go and find out a little bit about your history, who your great uncle was. You want to know what, and then you send this company your DNA,
Yeah.
and supposedly that information is not available to law enforcement.
Right.
That's what they tell you.
Right.
In this case, apparently 2 databases that were not supposed to be used by law enforcement were used by the FBI. The judge has ruled that the FBI's actions did not violate the Constitution or undermine probable cause used to arrest Koberger. In other words, y'all shouldn't have done it, and the database people shouldn't have given it to you, but they did, I guess. So you got it and you used it. So no harm, no foul, as far as the law is concerned, right?
Right.
15 weeks you get to watch this trial when he kicks off in August.
Yeah, be watching. I'll be texting Kelly every 5
Yeah.
minutes. Kelly!
Keep me posted. Yeah.
15 weeks. Are you going to watch that thing for 15 weeks?
I've done other trials just as long. Yes.
Well, anyway, they got this this person on the staff now. I don't know. If he didn't do it, show me some evidence that he didn't do it. If he did do it, you better show me a lot of evidence that he did do it.
Mhm.
You've got him identified. Fine. You've got him identified from DNA that was on a blood sheet, on a knife sheath from his blood that was under her body. Oh, explain that to me, Mr. Koberger, and we'll talk.
Yeah, really.
Can you explain that?
They don't
I'm
have
sure they're going to try.
an abundant amount of evidence, but they do have evidence that ties them into being there at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he kill him though when he was there? Did somebody else kill him? And I mean, his blood got there somehow. Was he
That's right.
cut somewhere and trying to get away while he's
He's
peeking?
a
Peeping into the
smart-
windows
The
or
one
what?
girl that lived identified him.
Yes.
Yeah, but now they're trying to
being there
say
doesn't mean he killed him.
That's true. Well,
now
yeah.
they're trying to say she was sleepwalking. It's ridiculous, and I tell you, this is going to be a lot of technical step
Yeah.
backs in this trial, and a lot of argument. And the actual trial is probably not going to take as long as all the motions, all the sidebars that are going to happen on this one.
Well, it will be a mess. And again, if he's not guilty, you better go find somebody who is, because there are four kids who have been brutally murdered.
He's to watch him in court, the way he acts to me is just creepy.
Mhm. Well,
Oh, it's just creepy. It's like the one I just told you about this morning that I'm watching. A father, this is in Tampa, Florida, is going to court right now for murdering his 5-year-old daughter and wounding serious wounds to his 8-year-old son. And both the children were asleep in the same bed. It was a bunk bed, up the top bunk.
Mhm.
And the father alleges that he was emptying his gun, his
magazine.
Thank you. I always want to say cartridge. We used to say that back in the day. But unloading his magazine on his gun, and his gun went off.
Not 5 times.
5 times. Now, I know, Kelly knows how you empty a magazine from a gun. You hold it up, you push a button, and the magazine drops.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but 5 times. But what got me was yesterday they were showing the body cam of one of the EMS workers and one of the deputies also as they went in. And of course, they discovered the bodies. And of course, they're talking to the father, and he's actually holding the son in his arms saying, "Help my son, help my son." And then the mother who was screaming frantic, and the child who was crying. It would break your heart to hear it. Yeah, he's just sitting there, like I showed you, sitting there with a pen in his hand, just popping the end of it like this. No emotion on his face. If it had been me and I had accidentally shot my child and my child died, say accidentally for real, I would be inconsolable. They would have to break, or we need to take a break. We need to take a break because I'd be in there wailing. Tears running down my face.
You would get nowhere like that, and you're going to have to be composed.
Right, but sitting there watching it take place again.
Wait, I'm going to assume if you break down just like that, and that you're involved and you've been accused of murdering this person, that oh my God, they caught me. I'm crying because of me, not because of them. That's what the prosecution would do. I'm talking about
watching a video, which the defendant is watching the video on screen. Of EMS coming in and wrapping gauzes around his son's head, and his son is screaming. I would show emotion. I would. I think most any normal person would. That was innocent.
You can rest assured that the defense is going to say, if you break down, they're going to think that you're breaking down because you're guilty and you just are so distraught because you did all of this murder and mayhem.
You've got 12 jurors.
That's what the defense is going to tell him, and they're going to tell him how to not react.
But the funny thing you say about that is you got 12 jurors sitting in a jury box, and I've watched it. I tell you, I watch a lot of court TV, a lot of court on TV, and later on, and you come across interviews with jurors that were on that, and they said the one thing that got us was they showed no emotion. And that really bothered us. Yep. But I'm just saying that they could tell me don't cry, but I'd have tears in my eyes.
There's going to be a time for him to display emotion, and that's if they put him on the stand.
When they say get life?
No, that's when he gets on the stand. It's a good time for him to get on the stand. And so you exactly don't, God. And then you can break down. Breaking down in the courtroom is going to hurt your chances.
Just finished one where a mother killed her 18-month-old daughter, wrapped her in aluminum foil, put her in a trash bag, put her in the trash can upside down and all squished together. She was like S-shaped. Found her, and for months, pretended like somebody had kidnapped her. And when she was in court testifying, not a tear, no remorse. And I'm just like, how can people do that? Yeah. Cold in their heart. Doge, and Doge. Oh, let's talk about
we've heard about Doge. We've heard about this Department of Governmental, whatever it's called, efficiency. And the people that are supposed to getting fired are the people that are holding their hands. And, we discussed yesterday, discussed and whatever, people working at home and doing this stuff. And Doge is the Trump is trying to get the offices opened up again. Well, there are two different things here you're looking at. First, don't talk to me about private enterprise. Those people who hire people, they can tell them to go work at home, or their Blue Cross Blue Shield employees that don't have a big gathering place to work at. They work out of their homes because they might cover 2 or 3 counties or they do things like that.
Yes.
That's the way they work.
Yes.
They can do what they want to do. The company can do what they want to do. TV stations can have bureaus in Jacksonville, like 3 of them do here. And they stay at home. They live here. They work out of their home. They may have a little office here, but that's pretty much it, right?
Yes.
They're out on the road. That's where their office is. It better be. There's no news in the newsroom. That's what I used to tell my reporters. There is no news in this newsroom. Get out. Leave.
Yeah.
Go find it.
Oh.
There is no news in the newsroom.
Yes.
Nothing's going to be generated here.
Go find some news out there.
Well, some people get their news off of social media instead of going out on the street.
That's not news. That's garbage. Gossip.
We know that.
But anyway, okay. So this government now, we're telling people since that pandemic, and they said, well, you can just work at home right now. We got a pandemic going on. This is an emergency. I understand that.
Mhm.
It was an emergency. We did not want people socializing close up quarters. Nobody would have gone to work anyway. Nothing would have ever been done. The country
Yeah.
would have been shut down. That was one of the intentions of that Wuhan virus.
Mhm.
The government of China, along with their socialist friends, Russia and North Korea, there were plans there, in my personal opinion, to shut this country down by
Mhm.
people stopping working.
Yeah.
We didn't let that happen. We continued working. We continued producing.
Mhm.
We were not efficient, but we got the job done, but we were not very efficient. Now, letting that continue 4 years later
Yeah.
is a waste of my tax dollars.
Okay.
These buildings that are unoccupied, these buildings that are half occupied, and they've got to pay the whole bill for that entire building. You know, this room in here that we occupy, it has its own heating and air conditioning system. I turn that off when we leave from here.
Yeah.
I turn it on at 5:30 in the morning. It leaves at 6:30, 9:30 in the morning. It's off.
Mhm.
They can't do that in these federal buildings.
No, I agree. It stays on 24/7.
That's
yeah.
it. Lights
Yeah.
stay on. Everything stays on.
Mhm.
They're unoccupied. Do you think those computers, they took them home with them? No. They either working
Not
off
the
laptops or
desktops,
whatever.
yes.
You got desktops sitting there doing nothing.
Mhm. Aging.
You
Yes.
know,
And getting worse and worse.
I had no problem with people working from home during COVID.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't
that
have
was
a problem
that
with
was
that at all.
that was a thing that could be done.
Yes.
You know, commercial fishermen couldn't work from home, but
Right.
that's another story, right?
But they're
think
out
about
there
it.
in the open
That's it.
too.
So, but that's over.
Right.
Yeah, it has been a.
Get
Now,
your butts
how
back to
much
work.
do you think it costs the taxpayers to furnish this dude with a laptop? He's not going to pay out of his own pocket for his laptop to
No.
take home with him.
Mm-mm.
And do you think he's going to be getting a per diem for his electricity, his use, for his office place that he has to sort of set up at home?
Probably not. But
Yeah, I
it's
guarantee
possible.
he's getting money for it. We'll give you $1,000 a month here just to take care of.
Well, it
operate from
started
your
with
house.
COVID, and first it was mandatory you work from home, then it became an option, and they just let it run wild.
Yeah, and so do you think that they are as efficient at home as they are in the
No.
workplace?
It's been proven that productivity, working from home,
From schools, we lost
Yes.
a year of education. The kids who
Yes.
were in school then, it's been
Look at-
shown they've lost a year
yes,
of learning.
Absolutely.
yes,
Okay, done. So,
right,
but
agree,
they could have lost more,
right.
but at least they kept something going.
Remember that question too, because we're going to ask the new superintendent once he's sworn in, and we arrange a day for him to come in. We're going to ask him about that.
They do have the option these days. The schools or the school system can say, okay, we got bad weather, so we got potential for bad weather. I like the potential for bad weather instead of shutting down the schools because
Work
the
from
weather
home.
guy and the TV station somewhere said it might snow tomorrow.
Mhm.
We're going to close the schools.
Yes.
Well, instead of that, you can work from home tomorrow. Kids,
You know,
it's virtual learning tomorrow. It's a 1 day or 2 day event. That's it.
I like that because they don't have to make up those 2 days
That's the other thing.
that they worked from home. I think it was a smart decision on
Absolutely
Onslow
smart.
County what they did this last weather event.
It
Very
was
smart.
perfect. Perfect. I mean, they
Yes.
had it was established it could be done, so they
Yes.
did it.
Yeah,
Done.
well, you're going to use that at home for special things.
So I'm happy with that. And there may be occasions when some members of government may have to work at home. I can tell you for a fact that there are certain members of government who have to work at home. They don't have an office space. The reason is because they don't want anybody else to know who they are. I can tell you about a retired FBI agent. He never even went to office for 8 years.
He had other offices.
Yeah, he had a strip club.
Yeah. So
But-
he had an office in the
But
strip
seriously,
club.
there are people who
He
do
did.
there are people who do things like that.
Yeah.
We can appreciate all of that.
Right.
Different story.
Mhm. Oh, it's a
But
totally
the daily drag. Now you can also rest assured that the people in that other agency that have to be in that office
Mhm.
because they don't have a 20-foot tall room with that is running from the length of this house to the length of this house full of monitors that they're watching every piece of video around the world that
Mhm.
goes up on a satellite.
Yeah.
they don't have those available at home.
Mm-mm.
They've got to be there
Correct.
with their little headset sitting in that little room, watching and listening and taking notes, so they can have a report for the president at 4:00 in the morning.
It's just like I told you. I mean, there are days where you get 5 to 10 calls. And we know it's people with these different health insurance companies that are trying to get you to change over your current plan to them. And all you have to do is answer the phone and you don't hear anything. You hear something in the background and then click to hang up.
They
And
just
it's-
made a call.
Yes. And if you deny a call or block it, they'll call you right back with a different number. It rotates over. But see, it makes it appear like they're making all these calls. When it's all on auto. They hit a button and it just starts calling phones. Do you think they're really working hard at it?
So you know that Musk and company have claimed they've saved a lot of money already. The money that they have saved by the actions they've taken over the last 6 weeks is going to save us a whole lot of money.
Yes.
That's just the beginning. We'll talk about that after weather too.
Yeah, do
So-
it because I have to go. I have to go to
Oh,
work.
yeah, you
Okay, I have
you
to go to work. I'm not
Oh.
going home. I actually have to go to
She's
work.
not going to work. She's going to get her nails done. Come
Y'all
on.
look at my
Yeah, how was
I
your
want-
appointment
I want
yesterday?
You, tomorrow morning, I want you to get in here and show us your nails and show
They're
us how
gonna look
great
just like
they're
they
going.
do right now.
And you're going to have another
Half bit
hairdo.
off and yeah.
She started biting them yesterday after Theo called.
Offshore and nearshore waters looking good for it. I still like Theo. He's a good guy. You know, people will not like Theo, but I like Theo. He and I both go off on temper tantrums from time to time, don't we, Theo? It's okay. Steve, same thing. We all are individuals and we all have our own ways of working.
True.
Sometimes I want to beat some people into
More
submission, but that's
wording.
not the point here.
More wording than working.
Offshore and nearshore waters looking pretty good for at least a couple more days this week. Smooth seas out there, smooth sailing, warm temperatures too. Today offshore, northwesterly winds around 5 knots, becoming westerly this afternoon. Seas only 2 feet. Sounds and rivers are running flat. Temperatures close to shore are about 49 degrees. Out there further where the black sea bass are hanging out, you might find some about 58-degree temperatures, about 12, 14 miles offshore. So good sea bass out there. Tomorrow, northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming easterly 5 to 10 in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. Thursday, 15 to 20, gust to 25. Seas 4 to 6. Sounds and rivers choppy.
Today, mostly sunny, a high of 71. Tonight, clear, low of 38. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 73 with 15 miles. Tomorrow night, clear, low of 48. And on Thursday, mostly sunny, a high of 76 with 23-mile-an-hour gusts. And I'll take it because it's
I
going
will
to be
too.
warm.
Yep, and we're going to have another little nasty bit, I'm sure, a spit or two here and there.
I've
But
already got my tank tops out on. Heck with this.
You're jumping the gun a little bit, girl.
Oh,
I hear you.
yeah.
you got what?
I got my tank tops out.
It's not that warm yet.
Hey, we Southern
It's
girls.
still going to get cold.
I'm
March
just
tends to
trying to
get
do
chilly.
everything I can to
Don't you
behave.
say it. I know. I already know. That's why I gave you the look.
ready. I'm ready.
What am I going to say? What do you think I'm going to say?
Hey,
I-
when Mark Price announces it's time for short sleeves, I'll have my tank tops out. Tank tops out.
You have your tank what out?
Don't you do it. Please stop. Y'all stop right now. Both of you.
$65 billion in total estimated savings as an agency efficiency leaderboard is launched. That's what Mr. Musk is saying right now.
Bring it on.
They put out a leaderboard yesterday morning, bright and early. It goes agency by agency, place by place. Here's what they have saved in canceled contracts and other cost-cutting measures. Contracts that we, the people, were going to have to cough up the money for. And they said, this is not what we should be doing. And first of all, a lot of those giveaways, they were operating on life support. Those giveaways had a life expectancy that ended years ago. They had it shut down. They were working. There's a sunset thing to grants and to other bills and all sorts of giveaway programs.
Right.
There's a sunset thing. Sunset means we're going to do this for this period of time. And the sunset part of it is on April 1st, 2010. This will shut down. No more. unless it comes up for renewal and they take it back before the House and the Senate and they rediscuss it and they do it again, and of which they did not. We saw a whole list of them last week. I mean, dozens of those grants that were still being given away that the Senate and the House had not even approved of. Most of the senators and the House members were not even there anymore that voted on it when it expired. Some of them as early as late, far back as 2005. Come on. So he is claiming that we're not doing that anymore. So there's $65 billion right there. All right, he's earned his keep because we're not even paying him.
Right.
You know, if you get the problem, here's what irritates the stuffing out of me. We have paid people. We have people on our payroll, the government has, for decades. Oh, let's look at our expenses and make sure that we're not over budgeted here. We need to find a way to cut. Why didn't they cut these things out? Why? How did these get by for decades?
We all know, Rayford. We all know, and I don't care you're Democrat, Republican, whatever. We all know as intelligent human beings, so even the ones of us that don't have the college education, we all know there's waste in the government. Now, I will say they have gone in fast and furious and caused a ruckus, but if it means saving us money, paying off our debt, which we'll never see, but
little Jimmy, you know, I'm the boss here. I found out that you have been, you've been taking money out of the till here every day, and am I going to be polite like that? Hey, thief, you're fired.
And how many supervisors and administrators sitting in one of those government offices?
I did that too, buddy.
I mean, yeah, I did that once too. Let me have your gun and your badge. Oh, by the way, you're fired. But how many in a government office, you have your supervisors and then you had your head administrator, whatever. How many of them sat back and took it easy while they made demands out of their employees to get this done, get that done, get this done? Why not the administrators and the supervisors do some work? And it's happening.
That's right.
It's happening.
It is. They're the ones that are gone at noon on Friday. Now, the other thing is, every time the week, we always had to get new computers in the newsroom, right? Because they were, you can't work them 24 hours a day, so long before they crap out.
I understand.
And but every time we get a new computer in, they came loaded with stuff from Dell. Dell had the Microsoft.
Yes.
It all came preloaded. We ended up with an internet an IT guy, right? And he's a smart guy.
Right.
So we didn't order any computers with anything loaded except what we wanted to put on them. But you know that as soon as you loaded up Microsoft, it loaded up games.
Yes.
It loaded up your computer. These computers came in loaded up with games. The computers in the newsroom, Luke, I call him F11 because there's a little F code there thing that you can keep punching F11 on your computer and it does things. Don't do it.
Right.
You might screw things up and your IT guy might not be as friendly as mine. But anyway, I said, Luke, here's the deal. Any computer that comes to the news department or the news production department, it will have no games on it. You will uninstall anything that comes in and then block them. If you find anybody who's on their computer has put the game on them when you service or on a regular basis their computers, you let me know because they have orders that they will be terminated. Solitaire, all that stuff. Right. You see people sitting over there and they're accomplishing absolutely nothing. That I could sneak up on them, and they're playing solitaire.
Did you ever do that?
Did I ever what?
Like play solitaire on your computer at work?
Those things. No, heavens, I didn't have the time to do that.
Did you ever visit a website that had nothing to do with what you were there for?
Probably, but
I will admit that I have.
But again, the same token, in that particular profession, there's probably not a whole lot of anything that's out there on the internet that was not deemed.
And you're going to get your stuff
providing some news information.
Like The Wire before you go just look it up on the internet.
Well, social media did not really exist too much. We didn't care about that. That was not even part. That was, it was out there, but we didn't care about it. But for other news organizations, other TV stations, law enforcement people had websites up. The government had lots of websites up even before we all got involved in them. And I was always into those things.
Right.
You'll find a bunch of them on this computer.
Well, I have
computer
quite
right
a few
there.
of them on my computer at
Uh-huh.
home, my laptop at home.
That's the
where-
reason I get 500 emails a day.
like Reuters and AP
Oh,
and
that's on there.
Politico and
Yeah, but I got government
then-
agencies on mine.
yeah, I have the Justice Department on
Mhm.
mine. I have Congress on mine because I used to go in there a lot and
Mhm.
read the daily stuff.
The DOJ news releases that were coming out prior to
Yes.
January 20th are kind of like this. They're taking a back seat right now.
Right,
But they were
right.
putting out on Fridays. They would put out that it was Document Dump Friday.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
It
yeah,
was
I
so
remember that.
hilarious.
Oh,
They would drop a
yes.
bunch of stuff that they say had been going on this entire week.
Right.
Trials here, cases here, yada, yada,
Mhm.
yada. They'd dump them all on Friday afternoon when everybody had gone home, so the media didn't have
Right.
a chance to question them about it. All they could do is take what the DOJ said about this. Those
Right.
are handouts. I
Mhm.
hate handouts. A handout should be nothing but an
Right.
opportunity to call whoever it is and ask questions.
Right.
Otherwise, your news looks exactly like everybody else's news.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's my rant.
Phew.
910-333-0139. Chat.
Yeah.
Got something good to say? How about want to ask some questions about gardening? We're going to have a young lady on here on Thursday.
Thursday,
Meredith
yes.
Kroom from Grants Creek Nursery.
I need to know
Known her
about
for a
how to
bunch of
get rid of
years.
moles.
I
If-
might have to run out there today or tomorrow before she gets on here on Thursday to look around her place and see what I can.
Find out what I need to do and getting rid of those furry little creature moles. The other moles I can deal with, but
Well, they used to have something that Timmy could probably pick you up some when he's out of state.
shotgun shells.
No, they used to have something called.
Mhm.
There was some special peanuts you could get to stick down in the little burrows. They love those
Well,
little
see,
peanuts.
the problem they said juicy fruit gum in the yellow wrapper. I did that in my front yard and it worked pretty well. And that was a couple years ago. But for some reason, my back and all the money I spent on grass last year, it's all gone to waste now. Them little buggers are eating everything.
Well, they eat the peanuts and then they die.
Yeah, but see,
are
I worry
particular
about-
peanuts.
Yeah, I can't do that with dogs. These are rat terriers I have. They dig for stuff they dig for mice.
Mhm.
They're not doing their job, but I can't put stuff
Then
like
they're
that
fired.
down.
You don't
No.
get any treats today.
They're mama's babies. They're
So you don't get any treats today. Go dig up a mole. You want a treat? He's out there waiting for you.
My cat does, and my cat used to come in and drop them at my feet. And I just,
Now, the other thing is, have you ever seen those mole killer traps?
I've heard about
Spring
them,
loaded?
but how do they work? Are my dogs in danger of?
No, not unless they burrow underground. You pull the spring up, and it's got 2 or 3, 4 little barbs going
I'll
across.
probably need
right?
50 of them.
That's okay. One at a time we get them. But you pull it up, put it right over a
Right.
recently traveled,
Yeah, a
Tunnel.
tunnel, right?
and you pull it up. It's little trips, and when they go underneath it and they hit the little trip underneath the ground, thump, thump.
What do you do with them then? When you pull
Bury
the trap,
them
are
up,
they stuck
bury
in the trap?
Yeah, well,
No.
they're impaled.
We need
Or
to
you
find another way. I'm not trying to peel a mole off a trap.
Okay.
Oh, sad news yesterday.
What's that?
Singer Roberta Flack
yeah,
passed
88
away.
years old from North Carolina.
Yeah, she was born in Black Mountain.
Yeah.
Was a school teacher and taught school in Farmville.
Yeah, took
about
singing
1 year.
lessons in
Mhm.
where was it? Howard.
Howard University with Howard. Is it University? Yes,
probably
Howard
College
yes.
back then. But anyway, Roberta Flack. I mean, God, what a singer!
She was a
Whoa.
beautiful singer.
She had some lungs that were
First time I ever saw your face,
Mhm.
killing me softly with your words.
great. She
Oh,
did
yeah, she is great.
she came to Raleigh and worked with WRAL to produce not a documentary, but sort of like she did a music video. When We Come Together, I think was the name of it. I saw a little clip of it last night, and RAL used it, and for years they used that just to promote the station about them coming together with the people.
Right.
That had all sorts of scenes in it,
Mhm.
and they played probably a minute's clip of it last night late. I saw it. So
Yeah,
anyway,
she was a
great lady.
beautiful singer, beautiful woman. I
88
loved
years
her
old and
music.
still look gorgeous.
And you know what? She'd been diagnosed a while back with ALS.
Mhm.
And that's why she quit singing. But she was, I loved her music. I like her. Music like that, like Roberta Flack, Luther Vandross, that era. Nice.
Yeah. Okay, what else we got cooking out here somewhere? Anybody sending me anything I need to worry about? Nope. I got some mail coming today.
Do you?
Yeah,
Is
let's
it
see.
some news breaks?
Oh my God, I have 5 mail pieces and no
Oh.
packages coming in today.
Well, you want to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up.
It ain't always right, though.
President Trump is talking about he may put the U.S. Postal Service under the control of the Commerce Department in what would be an executive branch takeover of the agency, which has operated as an independent entity since 1970.
Mhm.
Well, I had a bunch of postal workers who are all upset out there protesting this. Okay, number one, he's not done anything yet. And putting it under the Commerce Department, I don't think is going to be an issue for you doing your job. And number 3, I am so tired of getting my mail between 7 and 8 o'clock every night. Okay?
Well, maybe it's tomorrow's mail. They bring it to you early.
No. I mean,
We only have
Sunday night at 7 o'clock to see them out delivering Amazon packages. 7 o'clock?
Now,
I'm so sorry. Post Office.
I've talked to a couple of delivery folks in the last few years, and they said that's, it's saving the post office money. How? You're paying time and a half.
Anything for a city carrier now, someone who's not rural, but anybody that works on the city side, after 8 hours, they get time and a half.
Yeah.
And the unions are a big part of the Postal Service going broke because there's different situations, like you have what you call an overtime list. And if you try calling somebody that's next in line to come into work for overtime, and they don't answer the phone or something goes on, and you call somebody else, then the first person comes back and files a grievance against the management. No, 99% of the time they win it. And it's not at overtime. It's like a double rate or a triple rate. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I think that's, well, I'm going to tell you what, with Amazon building plants all over, they're going to lose that money too.
Yeah. Should have thought about that. Scumbuckets are not isolated to the United States.
They're everywhere.
A former French surgeon, Joel Lascournac, went on trial yesterday, accused of sexually assaulting nearly 300 patients. Sexually assaulting nearly 300 patients. Most of those were minors. Largest child sex abuse case on record in France. Lascournac was initially arrested back in 2017 following accusations that he abused or raped 4 girls and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. While investigating, police reportedly recovered journals with accounts written by the idiot detailing hundreds of other cases. Oh my God. You keep a record of your illegal activities? Duh. The 74-year-old faces an additional 20 years behind bars if convicted. That's not enough. 300 patients. 300 patients. Most of them kids. Sexually assaulting them. The public has cast blame on medical authorities. The doctor was originally convicted in 2005 of possessing child sex abuse material charges, but he was allowed to continue practicing pediatric medicine until his arrest 12 years later. They found they accused him.
Wow.
Convicted him in 2005, but he practiced pediatric medicine for another 12 years.
12 years?
12 years. Until 2017. What is wrong? France. I mean, I understand how stupid we are at times. But France, I would have thought better of you.
Got a question here. Somebody asked to ask Meredith. I'm writing it down.
There was another trial, the Pellicot trial, in which a Frenchman found guilty of repeatedly drugging his wife and inviting other men to rape her while she was unconscious.
I saw something on that, but I didn't read the story. I saw
in
the
the
headlines and did not
world?
want to read it.
My God.
Raver, you wouldn't believe.
There's some sick, perverted individuals out
You
there.
believe the court cases that I've been watching and the upcoming ones. There's one right now where a woman had an affair on her husband, and the boyfriend allegedly stabbed the husband to death. And she was they're trying to do it to collect the $1.6 million in life insurance. I mean, but there's so many crazy cases out there with husbands poisoning wives, wives poisoning husbands. And there was one that I watched a while back where the woman and the guy, they weren't married, but they were both intoxicated. He climbed into a suitcase as a joke. She zipped it up and left it there all night long. And he
Whoops.
suffocated. And she did it on purpose. She's even got video where she's saying, I hope he died, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of crazy out there. No wonder courts can't catch up.
A lot of stuff coming out of the senator's office, our state senator.
Yes.
He is
See, I got that yesterday
he's
too.
providing tax relief for disabled veterans and improving DMV
Good.
accountability. He said he's committed to ensuring our state remains the best place to live and work. We've got to get him in here to talk about some
I
of
was
this
just going to
stuff.
say that.
We've got he's co-sponsoring a Freedom to Carry North Carolina bill to protect our rights to constitutional carry, being able to carry a concealed without a permit while maintaining a voluntary permit system for reciprocity with other states. Okay, now, folks, that's good. You know, if you want to carry and this passes and you're qualified to carry, that means there are some people out there who are nut jobs or criminals or underage or druggies or whatever. They're not qualified to carry. They're under current laws. They can't get
Yes.
a permit. If you can't get a permit under the current laws, you're not going to be able to carry legally concealed either way.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Even if they do away with the the requirements to have that, they're going to maintain the current concealed carry permit process. Why? Why is it necessary? Well, for me, if I go down to South Carolina, I go to Virginia or any one of 35 states in this country, I can still carry, as long as I have a concealed carry permit from North Carolina, I can still carry my handgun concealed in those states. I don't go to New York, don't go to New Jersey, ain't going to Massachusetts. There are 15 states that say no. 35 states says yes. We have a reciprocal agreement.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons that they're going to keep this as a voluntary permitting system for reciprocity with other states. And, you know, that's fine. The other thing that I will tell you, that when the popo, you pull up to a road checking station or whatever, you're going to have to make sure you understand what the laws are, regardless of whether you have a concealed carry permit or not, that you have to tell the police officer that you have a concealed carry, a concealed pistol. Okay.
Yes.
You're going to have to do that.
Yes.
And so that's going to be part of the law. If you don't do that, you're going to be arrested for carrying a concealed weapon by failing to tell the officer that you had one. So
Right.
before you go this route, make sure you understand what the rules of the road are. The other thing about it and you know, this is human nature with cops or anybody else, but in cops in this particular case, you pull up to a police officer and, you know, just a routine check at a road checking station. Yeah, sir, I have a concealed carry permit. And I have my weapon here in the vehicle. And he says, okay, do you want to see my permit? Don't ask him if you want to see the gun, because he don't want to see your gun.
Right.
He wants you to keep that where it is. But you can ask him, I'll be glad to show you my permit.
Right.
And 99 times out of 100, they're going to say no. If you're suspicious, you're looking straight ahead or you acting weird.
Or I'd be acting weird because I'd be nervous.
Well, you know,
No.
personally, I would have
Yes.
my permit and my driver's license
Yes, I carry them together.
and hand it over to him as soon as he pulls up to me.
Right.
That's me. But the thing is, when you got that, he's going to look at you and say, you know what, you've already been screened. I know that you have had a background check run on you. The guy with that it's not your right. And the senator wants to make sure that we have this right, and I totally support it. But the police officer doesn't know anything about you
Right.
when he stops you or when you get stopped. That is one reason that a concealed carry permit is a good thing for you. It's your choice, but that's the point.
Now-
It would be your choice to get one or not to get one.
Now, I've not read this bill. I started to, but then got sidetracked and never went back
I haven't
and read
the
it.
whole thing either.
So let me ask you, from your understanding of what this bill is going to provide, if passed, is that anyone in the state of North Carolina has a right to carry openly.
Nope.
Okay.
To constitutional carry. I think we already have that.
Well, I mean, it's part of your Second Amendment, but North Carolina to carry it concealed is different.
Different
Steve's
story.
calling. Maybe he knows.
But what it says is, what he says it is the freedom to carry North Carolina, protecting your right to conceal carry without a permit or maintaining a voluntary permitting system for reciprocity with other states. You
Right.
already have a right to carry openly in places that allow you
Okay,
to
so
do
this
that.
is about carrying
This
concealed.
is concealed weapons, okay?
See, I'd have to know more about that bill because right now I'm not agreeing with the right to carry concealed for everybody without a carry concealed permit.
I
just
they're
have
not
issues with
qualified,
that.
they cannot qualify to do it. Even if you get stopped and you have a concealed weapon, and they deem you that you're a nut job, you're gonna be arrested.
I'm
for
going to
it.
have to delve into that bill because I may not be understanding everything, but just with what little we know right now,
And I think,
I'm like,
I think my friend Steve, he wants to talk to somebody who's a nut job. So Steve, you got me.
that's why he's calling you.
Good morning, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'll jump in on what y'all were just talking about. First is, I don't agree with that either. Everybody being able to carry concealed. I also don't agree with the local sheriff not having any say-so anymore in gun permits. There is an argument that can be made that this is making it easier for bad people to get guns. And it's hard to argue against that.
Senate Bill 50.
You know, law-abiding citizens, they had to jump through a hoop or two, but they didn't really have any trouble getting a permit or getting a gun before this. The people who had the most trouble are the ones that we don't necessarily want to have the guns.
Right, understand.
Yeah. And like I say, with the sheriff, they're going to know what their juvenile history is, where a background check is not going to show that. And that's why I think the sheriff should still have say-so.
Yeah, sheriff has say so first, and well, there are two different types of permits that he's involved in. One's the purchase permit, and he will run a background check, and he does, like you say, he has because some people will say, well, why should you have to go do that? Because when I go get my gun, the dealer will require me. They have to run a quick background check on me before I can get my gun. If I'm not listed on this list, well, if you're arrested today and you're charged with, domestic abuse, you're not going to show up on that database if you decide you want to go buy a gun after you're arrested because you haven't been tried. You haven't been found guilty. But if you go out and the sheriff arrests you, his arrest records or the police chief arrests you, and your arrest records show he's been arrested, he's under indictment, and even though he has lied on that FFL form that he's not under indictment, I mean, people lie all the time, as we do know. Ask Mr. Hunter Biden. But if he's lied, but he gets his gun, and the sheriff doesn't know about it, whoops, that could be a problem, because the next thing we know, the sheriff may be investigating a murder.
Right.
The reason that domestic violence order was issued.
Well, and also in a background check, the sheriff's going to see that there's been, say, multiple calls dispatched to residents, but no charges were filed.
Yep.
And also they can see that someone, when they were 14, committed assault and was incarcerated and released before they were 18.
Yep.
They'll know that, where a background check won't tell you that.
Yep.
Yeah. So
we're on the
there's
same
that
page
side
there.
of it.
Yeah.
I think the sheriff's, we have a sheriff's constitutional part of our Constitution is every county has a sheriff's office or sheriff's department, however they want to call it. There's a reason for that. These are folks who are elected by the people of that county, not by the people of the state of North Carolina, not appointed by a county commission or a city council. These are people who are elected. These are people that the people get to know and vote for or again. And I mean, these are people that know people. That's what a sheriff does. He gets out and he talks to people.
Okay, from what I'm reading on this bill right now, Steve, is it's allowing anyone in the state to carry concealed without having to get a permit, but the same restrictions apply, like if it's ineligible to own, possess, or receive a firearm, if you are convicted, all the different. But but let me ask, who's going to enforce that?
That's
Rayford,
right. How do you know?
I bought a gun from you.
Yes, sir.
And then I go, can you know,
You cannot legally buy one from somebody else if you could not buy one.
Right.
We're not be able to get a permit to buy one.
We're-
You can't buy one from anybody.
We're definitely going to ask the senator this. We'll have him on in
But-
all fairness to him, because I'm not understanding completely why we feel like we need to do that.
Because
but-
there is a constitutional right here. When we're mixing me and you and Lee.
Yes.
We're mixing this thing here. What we know that people are out there. That some people should not have a gun.
that are not going to follow the law,
And-
right?
But those same people are going to go get a gun. In reality, how many times have cops investigated murders or
Stolen
robberies
yes, I do
where the guy
understand.
went and bought a gun and went and committed a murder?
Right.
Not many, not very many. It's going to be the people who get them off the street or steal them. They buy them in drug deals, whatever. Those are the guns that are used. So this just makes it okay for those who, and you know, to be honest with you, everybody that has a concealed carry permit. Lee, you got your gun on you?
Yeah, maybe.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
That's
today.
right. So most of the people with a concealed carry permit, I would say
don't
most
carry mine
do
a
not
lot.
carry their gun
No.
most of the time.
Exactly. That's me.
You might have it available, but you don't carry it on your body
No.
most of the time.
Mm-mm.
So anyway,
I got mine mainly like if I'm traveling within the state of North Carolina or going to a state that's reciprocal in carrying concealed laws, or if I'm out late at night, you know, driving, yeah, I carry mine then. But getting up, going to the grocery store or going to the mailbox, like my neighbors, they get up, go to mailbox, they're all carrying. You
you
know,
never know what's going to be in that mailbox. Could be that python.
could be a wildcat. Yeah, I mean, and being mine comes at night, but
You just hung up on that.
you
aren't
just
you?
hung up on that because it
Jesus
just
Christ.
disturbs me. There's no
One other
reason.
thing I wanted to mention
ahead.
while I had y'all on the phone, and I was heard a little bit this morning talking about it. You know, is I hear people say all the time, you know, what they want their tax dollars spent on and what they don't.
Right.
And Rayford, you and I probably agree more than most people would think,
I know we do.
you know, on stuff like that. But what I think I don't hear people say a lot of times is, just for instance, Rayford, what about all the U.S. citizens that don't agree with us?
Mm-hmm.
Is what they want to spend money on, even if we don't think it's wise, is that not valid?
Nope, it's not.
Are they supposed to sound and shut up, and
Nope.
they just do it the way we want?
Oh, I wish they would, but no, they're not supposed to. Nor am I going to sit down and shut up because
Right.
they want
Right.
to do it their way.
Right.
I want to do it my way. But
And I understand it. I mean, even like with my wife, there's times that I buy things that she thinks is frivolous and she wouldn't spend it on, and vice versa.
you need
But
another guitar,
it's
honey.
her
What
money,
for?
it's my money.
Right.
You know, at times your fellow Americans are going to spend some money on some stuff we probably don't agree with,
Right.
but we're going to spend some money on some stuff they probably don't agree with.
Here's the point that I've got.
You know, it's a compromise. You know,
Here's the most egregious parts that I'm looking at right now. That I applaud this whole commission, whatever they call themselves, agency, have done. I saw the list. I've read part of the list yesterday or whenever it was about the number of grants that were approved that had like 1, 2, 3 year life expectancy. They had a sunset date. It's going to end on a certain date, right? Some of them is back as far as 2005 that we are still, and they have not been given back to the Senate or the House to reappropriate this money. It expired, but somebody somehow in our government, in the bureaucracy of our government, did not expire those. And we have been given those grants since some of them since 2005. They expired 2 years later, and they're still doing it. That is an egregious oversight that needs to be fixed.
and I would agree with you that it presented that way. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to mention that when Biden was in office, his press secretary came out and she said some things that were inaccurate,
Mm-hmm.
and you called her out for it. And I agree with you.
Jim?
And I told you at the time, yes, if she says something that ain't true,
Mm-hmm.
jump on her.
Right.
Your actual comment at the time was that she lied. She's a liar. You can't believe nothing she said. That's what you said, Rayford.
Well, I know she was a liar. She was a paid liar, but she did it
And I don't disagree. I don't necessarily disagree with you.
Yeah,
there.
she did it at
What I
Biden's
see, though,
call.
is
What his
now
handlers
we're
told
at
her to do.
I'm sorry. You're breaking up. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay. She was doing exactly what she was told to do.
hmm Well, my thing is that they lied, and you were correct. They were inaccurate, and you should call them out for that. And I agree with you on that. And now the current administration has had some significant inaccuracies in their reporting as well. I ain't saying that everything they say is a lie, but it definitely brings into question what they bring out. If it is what they say it is, then yes, I agree with you. But I'm suspicious until I know for sure that what they said is accurate. Because they're making a lot of claims, they're putting out a lot of lists, but they're not really putting out the evidence to back up their claims yet.
Well,
So it may be true, and if it is, I agree with you. But their credibility is questionable at this point, just like hers was. And I agree with you then.
Yeah, I have not even looked at all of the others because some of them are so far fetched that I'm not centered on those yet. But these are the ones that I looked at, and if these they showed expired years ago. And if you go buy groceries at the grocery store that expired 10 years ago, you're going to be an unhappy camper.
I can understand. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say that this was, Trump had an administration before. The Republicans had control before, and it wasn't an issue then. So I'm curious why it wasn't an issue then. Why did they let it go back then?
Because he had no idea he was going to be elected president in 2016.
It opens more. It just opens a whole nother box of questions for me that they haven't put out enough information for me to really be able to form a solid opinion on it. I'm very skeptical of what they say is there because they don't seem to have any concern if they're not accurate. I know people make mistakes and people misspeak all the time, and I'm probably more guilty of it than anybody, but it's the way they react to making a mistake that concerns me.
Yeah. I've reserved judgment on all of the other situations and cases that I've looked at so far that have just been making headlines. I haven't looked at them because I don't know that much about them as yet because there's a lot of other stuff to deal with. But these particular cases, this is billions of dollars.
Yes.
that we are,
Well, they say it is.
well,
And
the grants,
honestly, their
you read
math
the
is
grants.
questionable.
You read the grants, and that's what it says.
I can understand what Steve's saying though, because on one side of the coin, I see all this coming out about we stopped these checks, that check, this check. We were paying for this, paying for that. Right now, it's mainly all talk that they want us to believe in. And I'm not saying I don't believe it, but then and again, it just is also fast and furious. Like I said before, I mean, I want to see an itemized list with some type of backing so we actually know. I think I would feel better about what we're saving if I knew it was exact. Because, you know, at one time, 8 million became 8 billion, and then it went back to 8 million again. I mean, it's just so much information coming out so fast. Sometimes you wonder what's real. I do believe there's waste out there. I do believe they have found a lot of it.
Well, and they're inaccurate, even amongst themselves. You know, with the Social Security thing or the Gaza thing, they came out and said it was 50 million. Then Trump went on TV and said it was 100 million. Then we found out it was 50,000.
Yes.
And so they're not consistent in what they're saying, and that again raises questions about the credibility of the information. I think it would to most people. You know.
Well, I agree a lot of things, and I think we need to sit back and you know, I'm excited that they're finding a lot of waste and fraud. I say clean it up. I don't care who's president, clean it up. But everything's coming out so fast, and a lot of it's inaccurate, and they have to go back and correct it. So I'm anxious to kind of see. I'd like to see a quarterly report, something that shows this is what we've done.
Something, right. And I'll tell you something else. I don't know that it's been reported in conservative media. I tried to find it. But when they shut down the USAID,
Yes.
they were actually, part of their program was they were buying grain from American farmers and sending it overseas. They had contracts with those American farmers. Well, when they've frozen everything on that, there's a lot of American farmers that had contracts that have already grown the wheat, have already supplied it to the government, and the government was supposed to pay them, and the funds have been frozen. So now them farms are in financial distress over this.
But
They've already done the work, they've already grown crops, and the government ain't paying them. And it's because they did it in a chaotic way. They just went in and shut down that whole organization. They even took the sign off the building. I mean, if you're trying to eliminate fraud and waste, you don't. That's not the way it's done. It's done with a scalpel, not a chainsaw.
Maybe that's what they thought they needed to do. And maybe with the cancellation of the grain going to other countries, maybe it's something that they've shut everything down, but they're back and they're taking a look at what do we need to save, what do we need to
I don't know what they're doing there.
We don't know.
I know what you're saying. What you're saying is accurate. What you're saying, and I do, but I don't know the other side of the story yet.
That's right.
Right. But I'm saying it appears to be chaotic. And chaos is the opposite of efficiency.
Yeah, it is chaotic. It is chaotic.
Well, I had to look over budgets, and I had
one last thing I want to throw out there before I get off, and I appreciate all the time, guys.
Sure,
I had seen a report from Axios that Senator Tom Tillis, he had pushed back against two of the nominees from Trump, Patel
Yes, he did.
and Hegseth.
Yes.
And Axios reported that the FBI went to him and said they had credible threats against his life and his family's life from the MAGA faction because he was pushing back against Trump.
MAGA is
now, he hasn't come out and confirmed that, so I would like you to ask him about that.
Sure.
When we have him on the air, we will, but he'll probably laugh.
I'm writing it down.
Off.
Yeah, Tillis is always getting MAGA threats. I'll tell you that right now. My understanding as far as Pete is, he was on the fence about Pete, and he sat down with Pete, and he said, I'm kind of on the fence. A lot of it has to do with your ex-wife's accusations and stuff like this. And that's when Pete's sister-in-law wrote a letter saying that the allegations were false and blah, 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 blah. It's all personal. It's the moral issue. And I understand that he sat down with Pete after that, and after the sister-in-law had done an affidavit, and he said, okay, I'm satisfied. Now, as far as Kash Patel, I didn't know what his feelings were over that. I know that when I watched the Senate hearings, the confirmations and et cetera, he always voted yes.
Well,
Always.
he's always reserved. He's not going
Right.
to. He's not going to see the one thing about Tillis that really irritates a whole lot of the ultra conservatives or the what they call the MAGA crowd, which I just hate being labeled. I've got a MAGA hat or two around here somewhere. I don't know where they are, but I've got to make fishing great again.
Fishing
Too.
great again.
I got those hats too, but I don't think Tillis toes the line for any ultra or left or right people. He doesn't like them. He and I have been up in a big tall tower one time down at the state ports, and we've had some good conversations during that time and since. But he's one of those guys. He's his own man. I will tell you that.
He's got a lot of Walter Jones in him.
I don't think he will bend the knee or kiss the ring, and that's
No,
one
he
thing I
will
respect
not.
him for.
Nope.
And did y'all see his speech on the Senate floor last week about Ukraine and
Yes.
Vladimir Putin?
I did.
I did not. I missed that.
That's
you,
Tom.
you need to go see that.
Okay.
It was,
That is Tom.
yeah, he put it out there. You know, he didn't say anything directly about the president, but he strongly rebuked his opinion of Vladimir Putin and Zelensky.
Yeah, that whole thing to me is strange how now all of a sudden Zelensky is the villain and Putin, we're going to work with Putin. I don't know the whole story,
Well,
but
Putin is easier to work with because he's on his way out. Okay. He's easier to work with. He wants to get out of this whole
then why
mess
do we
anyway.
give all this money and support to Ukraine if we're going to end up supporting Russia over Ukraine?
I don't think we need to support Russia. We just need to tell Putin that we're going to play really nasty with him.
Russian roulette.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a good idea if we appease the aggressor.
it's not. I don't think we're going.
I was saying we are, but
Sometimes
that
it
kind of
works
seems like
better.
we're on that. We could be going that way, or nobody really knows.
Yeah.
Once again, this is something that and also negotiating this deal without our allies who have provided quite a bit of aid to Ukraine as well.
Didn't we drop out of the UN?
I question that. Yeah.
Well,
But
I'm not an
anyway, I
international guy.
appreciate y'all's time this morning.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, take care, Steve.
Y'all
See you.
have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye.
Yeah, he brings up a lot of valid points, and I understand where
does.
he's coming from. As because we're getting all these figures and stuff thrown at us.
We are.
So
And the ones that I quote, the ones that I've looked at, and I can say, you know what, this is so egregious.
right.
And I think, let's see, who popped this up here somewhere. I know we're late, but it's okay. We'll be back. But it is some of the stuff is so egregious. It's so easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Right.
That's the way some of it is. Okay. I took over as the boss of a place, and then suddenly I had to be the guy in charge of the budget, right? For
Right.
that department. All right. It's not a problem. So I'm looking at the previous year's budget because I got thrown into it in the middle,
Right.
smack dab in the middle of when it was
is
supposed to be
hard.
done.
Yes.
And the other guy hadn't done it. But what he had done the year before is what I took a look at. And there was a big old budget item in there that said videotape.
Yeah.
We were all digital, had been all digital.
Oh.
And there was a chunk of change that was spent every year on so-called videotape.
It was allegedly spent on.
It was budgeted for videotape.
Right.
The thing is, once you get a budget item in there, once the gods approve it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can go, if you are sneaky, you can spend it any way you want to on whatever you want to. It
That's
could have been
right.
on a margarita machine. I don't know.
You're taking it out of a budget item that has been approved, and
So,
if you're not spending
As
that,
long as the bottom line
know.
came in under, you were okay.
right?
Nobody ever cared or looked at it. No, I chopped that one up real
Mhm.
bad.
Yes.
That- Hit the fan.
I
Shall we
imagine
say?
you made so many people.
Yeah, I
happy.
did. That's the way it goes.
No more margaritas.
Yeah, it's pretty much. You're on your own.
Yes.
But the little things like that is
right.
the way that. And I'm looking at some of this stuff. Some of this stuff is just as obvious
Right.
to even a stupid old country boy like me
Right.
It's obvious that this was wasteful, misleading, deceptive, and I'm going to go ahead and say illegal. And it should have been done and taken
And
care
as
of.
we've been doing
Now
it for a
I
long
want to
time,
see some heads roll.
as we've been doing it for a long time, how easy is it to spend money that
Just
we don't
keep-
have?
Let's just
spending.
keep on doing the same old thing. Oh, we need some more money. Print some or raise the taxes.
Right.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Dr. Rose in the morning at
Peter Wright,
Peter Wright.
And
Dr. Rose
then
first, Peter Wright, and then we've
Chief
got
Gennaro.
Chief Unero.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He'll
Can't
be in about
wait.
8:20 tomorrow. So
Yes.
hang in there, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day, and be safe out there. You're live and local real talk, where we, unlike a big chunk of America, are always awake and never woke. Bye.